Welcome aboard, friends. You're now tuned into Scion What Ifs. We're super excited to share today's story with you. What if Goku had Moro's energy absorption ability? If you enjoy what we do here, the best way to support us is by liking, commenting, and subscribing. We read every comment. Ready? Let's go. Chapter 1, The Awakening. Goku's fist slammed into the rocky cliffside, sending chunks of stone flying in all directions. Sweat dripped from his forehead as he pushed himself through another brutal training session in the mountains far from home. The crisp mountain air filled his lungs with each heavy breath. Still not enough, he muttered, wiping his brow. 6 months had passed since the Tournament of Power, and something gnawed at him. Sure, they'd won, but Ultra Instinct had slipped through his fingers like water. No matter how hard he trained, he couldn't recapture that feeling, that power. Goku launched into another flurry of punches and kicks, his orange GI flapping with each movement. The familiar burn in his muscles was comforting, reliable, the one constant in his life. Train harder, get stronger. Simple math. His stomach growled loudly, interrupting his concentration. Man, I'm starving, he complained to no one, patting his belly. Guess I'll catch some fish before heading back. He flew down to a nearby lake, stripped to his underwear, and dove in. The water was freezing, but Goku barely noticed as he spotted a massive fish swimming lazily below. With practiced ease, he swam deeper and grabbed it, wrestling the thrashing creature toward the surface. You're a big one. Chi-Chi's gonna make an awesome dinner tonight. As he dragged the fish to shore, a sudden pressure wave rippled through the air. Goku dropped his catch and instantly went alert, eyes scanning the horizon. That energy, it's not familiar. He quickly pulled his GI back on and focused on the distant power source. It was erratic, aggressive, and heading straight for West City. Whatever you are, your timing stinks, Goku grumbled, pressing 2 fingers to his forehead. I'm hungry. In an instant, he vanished. West City Park had transformed into a war zone. Trees were uprooted, benches shattered, and a massive crater dominated what used to be a playground. People scattered in terror as a hulking alien creature with mottled purple skin and 4 arms tore through anything in its path. Piccolo was already on the scene, dodging the creature's attacks while firing energy blasts that seemed to have minimal effect. About time you showed up. Piccolo called as Goku materialized beside him. What is that thing? Goku asked, eyes widening as he got a better look. The alien stood nearly 15 feet tall, with a mouth full of jagged teeth and eyes that glowed an unnatural yellow. No idea. It appeared through some kind of portal about 10 minutes ago and immediately started destroying everything. The creature roared, sending another shock wave that forced both fighters to brace themselves. Weird, its energy feels all wrong, Goku noted, slipping into his fighting stance. Like it's leaking out somehow. Less analyzing, more fighting, Piccolo growled, removing his weighted cape and turban. This thing's stronger than it looks. Goku grinned. Good. I was hoping for a workout. He launched himself at the creature, connecting with a solid punch to its midsection. The alien barely flinched, grabbing Goku with 2 of its 4 arms and hurling him through a nearby building. Bursting from the rubble, Goku's hair flashed golden as he transformed into a Super Saiyan. Okay, now I'm getting excited, he shouted, charging back into the fray. Piccolo fired his special beam cannon, drilling into the creature's shoulder. It howled in pain but quickly regenerated the damage. It can heal itself, Piccolo warned. The fight intensified as Goku and Piccolo coordinated their attacks. Despite landing numerous blows, they couldn't seem to cause lasting damage. The creature was absorbing or healing through everything they threw at it. This isn't working, Goku said, breathing heavily. I'm going to step it up. His aura flared brighter as he pushed to Super Saiyan 2, then 3, his golden hair extending down his back. The surge of power sent cracks spreading through the pavement beneath him. The alien seemed to react to the transformation, its yellow eyes fixating on Goku with newfound interest. It abandoned its attack on Piccolo and charged straight for the Saiyan. Goku met it head-on, their collision sending shock waves across the city. Windows shattered for blocks around as they exchanged blows at superhuman speed. "Something's not right," Piccolo muttered, watching the battle unfold. "It's focusing entirely on Goku now. Almost like it wants something from him." The creature managed to grab Goku with all four arms, pinning him in a crushing bear hug. Instead of attacking, it began to glow with an eerie purple light that enveloped both of them. Goku struggled against the grip, feeling his energy being drained at an alarming rate. His Super Saiyan 3 form flickered, threatening to give out. "It's draining me," he shouted to Piccolo. "Like some kind of energy vampire." Pain shot through Goku's body as the creature squeezed tighter. His transformation failed, hair returning to its natural black as his power plummeted. "Piccolo! I need a distraction." The Namekian responded immediately, stretching his arms to grab the alien from behind. The momentary disruption gave Goku just enough space to place his palm against the creature's chest. "Hiya!" Goku yelled, desperately channeling what little ki he had left into a point-blank energy blast. But instead of the energy flowing outward, something strange happened. The moment his palm connected, Goku felt a pull, like his hand had become a vacuum. The purple aura surrounding the alien began flowing into him instead. "What the?" Goku gasped, unable to break the connection. Energy poured into him, wild, chaotic, and alien, filling him with power that felt nothing like his own. The creature's yellow eyes widened in what looked like shock as its massive frame began to shrink, withering like a deflating balloon. Piccolo watched in astonishment. "Goku! What are you doing to it?" "I don't know." Goku shouted, equally confused. "I can't stop it." The sensation was intoxicating. Each second brought more strength flooding into Goku's body, revitalizing him far beyond his previous state. His aura flared with streaks of purple mixing into his usual blue-white energy. The alien, now half its original size, finally broke free with a desperate heave. It staggered backward, looking weakened and disoriented. Without warning, it opened another swirling portal and escaped, disappearing from sight. Silence fell over the devastated park as the portal closed. Goku stood motionless, staring at his hands in disbelief. "Goku." Piccolo approached cautiously. "Your energy signature, it's changed." Goku could feel it too. Power unlike anything he'd experienced before coursed through his veins, raw, unfiltered, and distinctly not his own. "I think I just stole its energy," he said quietly. "Not like Spirit Bomb where people share willingly. I just took it." Piccolo's expression darkened. "That's not a Saiyan ability." "No," Goku agreed, clenching and unclenching his fists. "It's something else entirely." In the distance, sirens wailed as emergency services approached the scene. The destruction around them was extensive, but Goku barely noticed it. He was too focused on the strange new power humming inside him, and the disturbing thrill it had given him. "We need to figure out what just happened," Piccolo said firmly. "And what exactly that creature was." Goku nodded, but part of him was already wondering how this new ability might work against other opponents. The tactical possibilities were endless. "Let's head to Capsule Corp," he suggested. "Bulma might be able to help us understand what's going on." As they took to the sky, neither noticed the hooded figure watching from atop a distant building, eyes glowing with interest at what had just transpired. Bulma's lab at Capsule Corporation hummed with activity as machines analyzed Goku's vital signs. He sat uncomfortably on an examination table, electrodes attached to his chest and forehead while Bulma studied the readings with growing fascination. "This is incredible," she muttered, pushing blue hair from her face as she scrolled through data. "Your cellular structure is actually adapting to incorporate the alien energy you absorbed." "Is that bad?" Goku asked, fidgeting with one of the sensors. "Don't touch that." Bulma slapped his hand away. And I don't know if it's bad, but it's definitely unprecedented. Your body seems to be treating this foreign energy like it's food, breaking it down and converting it into power you can use. Piccolo stood in the corner, arms crossed. The question is whether this was a one-time occurrence or a new ability altogether. The lab door slid open as Vegeta strode in, fresh from his training in the gravity chamber. His eyes immediately narrowed upon seeing Goku. What's Kakarot doing here? I felt his energy spike earlier. We had a situation in the city, Piccolo explained. An unknown alien attacked, and Goku somehow absorbed its energy. Vegeta's expression shifted from annoyance to shock. Absorbed? Like Majin Buu? Not exactly, Bulma interjected, turning a monitor so everyone could see. It looks more like energy transference at a cellular level. The closest comparison would be Moro, Vegeta finished, his voice hardening. The energy-eating goat. Goku perked up. Who? A powerful wizard I encountered when training with the Yard Rats, Vegeta explained reluctantly. He could drain the life force from entire planets. The room fell silent as the implication sank in. Goku scratched his head, trying to process this comparison. But I'm not doing anything like that. It just happened during the fight. For now, Vegeta said darkly. Powers like these have a way of corrupting their users, Kakarot. Even Science. Bulma removed the sensors from Goku and started compiling the data. We need to understand the full extent of this ability before jumping to conclusions. Goku, can you try activating it now? Goku hopped off the table and centered himself, focusing on recreating the sensation he'd felt during the battle. He extended his hand, trying to feel for that strange pulling sensation. Nothing happened. I don't think it works that way, he admitted. It was like an instinct during the fight, when I was desperate. Most new abilities are like that, Piccolo noted. They emerge under stress, then require practice to control. Vegeta scoffed. You shouldn't be trying to control it at all. Abilities like these go against a warrior's pride. There's no honor in stealing another fighter's power instead of developing your own. Says the guy who used to blow up planets, Bulma muttered under her breath. What was that, woman? Nothing, dear. Goku frowned at Vegeta's words. I didn't ask for this ability. But now that I have it, shouldn't I at least understand it? What if it happens again during a fight? That's exactly what worries me, Piccolo said. The look on your face when you were absorbing that creature's energy, you were enjoying it, Goku. The accusation hung in the air. Goku wanted to deny it, but he couldn't. The rush had been incredible, better than any power-up he'd experienced before. Maybe we should see if it works on something simple first, Bulma suggested, breaking the tension. Something non-sentient. She walked to a cabinet and returned with a small device. This is an experimental energy cell I've been working on. It contains a stable form of ki that can power our new defense systems. Goku took the glowing cylinder skeptically. You want me to try absorbing this? It's safer than testing on a person, Bulma reasoned. Focus like you did during the fight. Closing his eyes, Goku concentrated on the energy he could feel pulsing within the device. He searched for that pulling sensation, that connection he'd experienced with the alien. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then, slowly, he felt it, a tiny thread connecting him to the energy cell. He tugged mentally, and the thread strengthened. It's working. Bulma exclaimed as the cylinder's glow began to dim. Energy flowed into Goku's palm, up his arm, and spread throughout his body. It was different from the alien's chaotic power, cleaner, more refined, like drinking purified water instead of from a muddy stream. I can feel it, he said, opening his eyes. It's not as strong as what happened with the alien, but definitely the same process. The cylinder was completely dark now, drained of all energy. Bulma immediately began checking her instruments. Fascinating. You absorbed every last joule of energy from the cell. And your own power level has increased by exactly the amount that was stored in it. Vegeta's scowl deepened. This isn't right. A true warrior builds strength through training and battle, not by becoming an energy parasite. That's enough, Vegeta, Bulma snapped. This isn't Goku's fault. Actually, Piccolo interrupted, Vegeta has a point. This power fundamentally changes the way Goku fights. It's no longer just about his own strength but about taking strength from others. Goku set down the empty cylinder, a troubled look crossing his face. I get what you're saying, but what if I only used it on enemies? Guys who are trying to hurt innocent people anyway. That's how it starts, Vegeta warned. With justifications. Next, you'll be absorbing energy from everything around you because it's convenient. I wouldn't do that. You don't know what you would do, Vegeta fired back. I've seen power corrupt better men than you, Kakarot. Goku's face hardened. I think I should go home and think about this. Chi-Chi's expecting me for dinner anyway. We're not done testing, Bulma began, but Goku had already placed 2 fingers to his forehead. Thanks for the help, Bulma. I'll come back tomorrow. He vanished, leaving the others exchanging concerned glances. That went well, Bulma sighed. Piccolo moved toward the door. I'll keep an eye on him. This ability could be dangerous if he can't control it, or worse, if he gets too comfortable with it. After he left, Vegeta turned to Bulma. Your instruments. How much stronger did Kakarot get from absorbing that energy cell? Bulma checked her readings. About a 3% increase in his base power. Not much. That's not the point, Vegeta said grimly. The point is that he didn't earn it through sweat and blood. And power gained too easily is rarely respected by its wielder. At the Sun household, dinner was unusually quiet. Chi-Chi glanced repeatedly at her husband, who was eating with far less enthusiasm than normal. Goku, you've barely touched your food. Are you sick? She reached across the table to feel his forehead. Goku managed a smile. I'm fine, Chi-Chi, just thinking about something that happened today. Dad got in a fight with some weird alien, Goten piped up, mouth full of rice. It was all over the news. What? And you're just now telling me? Chi-Chi exclaimed. Were you hurt? Is that why you're so quiet? No, I'm not hurt, Goku assured her. It's just, something weird happened during the fight. I think I got a new ability. This caught Gohan's attention. The elder son had been silently eating while reviewing research papers, but now he set them aside. What kind of ability, Dad? Goku put down his chopsticks. I absorbed the alien's energy. Not like the spirit bomb where people share willingly. I just took it. Like drinking through a straw. That doesn't sound like any Saiyan ability I've ever heard of, Gohan said, frowning. It's not. Vegeta says it's like some wizard named Moro he met while training. Chi-Chi's eyes widened. And is this, safe? It doesn't sound natural. Bulma ran some tests. Physically I'm fine, but... But what? Gohan pressed when his father trailed off. Goku sighed. It felt good. Too good. Like the biggest power-up ever, but I didn't have to work for it. A troubled look crossed Gohan's face. That's not how you usually get stronger. I know. That's what's bothering me. Vegeta thinks I shouldn't use it at all. Maybe he's right, Chi-Chi suggested gently. If it doesn't feel right to you, Goku, then perhaps it's best to ignore this new ability. Goku nodded, but his expression remained uncertain. What if it happens again though? What if we're in danger and I instinctively use it? I should at least learn to control it, right? Gohan adjusted his glasses thoughtfully. Control might be wise, but with caution. Maybe we should test it in a controlled environment. That's what I was thinking. Goku brightened. Hey, how about we spar tomorrow? You could help me figure this thing out. Wait, what? Gohan looked alarmed. You want to practice by absorbing my energy? Just a little bit. And I'd give it right back after. Absolutely not. Chi-Chi slammed her hand on the table, making the dishes jump. My son is not going to be your guinea pig for some strange alien power you don't understand. Goku winced. I wouldn't hurt him, Chi-Chi, that's not the point, Gohan said quietly. Dad, what you're describing sounds fundamentally different from how you've always approached fighting. You've always believed in earning your strength. The words hit Goku hard. He slumped in his chair, appetite completely gone now. You're right. I don't know what I was thinking. An uncomfortable silence fell over the dinner table. Eventually, Goten spoke up, his young voice cutting through the tension. Can't you just use it on bad guys? Like how you only go Super Saiyan when you really need to. Goku looked at his younger son, a small smile forming. Maybe you're right, Goten. Maybe I'm overthinking this. After dinner, Goku stepped outside into the cool night air. Stars blanketed the sky above Mount Paozu, far from city lights. He'd always found peace in these mountains, but tonight his mind was too turbulent for stargazing. He sensed Gohan approaching before he heard him. Beautiful night, his son said, coming to stand beside him. Yeah. Dad, I'm sorry if what I said at dinner upset you. Goku shook his head. No, you were right. This new ability, it doesn't feel earned. But it's also not something I can just ignore. I understand that, Gohan said. And I wasn't entirely fair. Maybe there are ethical ways to use this power. Like what? Gohan thought for a moment. Well, what if you only absorbed energy that was freely given? Like the spirit bomb, but on a smaller scale. The idea struck Goku like a lightning bolt. That's brilliant. It wouldn't be stealing then. Exactly. And there might be situations where friends would willingly share their energy with you in battle, like they already do for the spirit bomb. Goku's enthusiasm dimmed slightly. But would it work that way? The pulling feeling was so automatic. That's why you need to practice control, Gohan reasoned. And I'm willing to help, not as a full power target, but maybe we could start small. Just enough to understand the mechanism. Really? Even after what your mom said? Gohan smiled. I'm an adult now, Dad. And a scientist. This is fascinating from a theoretical perspective. For the first time since the incident, Goku felt hopeful. Thanks, son. We'll be super careful. As they headed back inside, neither noticed the same hooded figure from the city now watching their home from the distant tree line, eyes gleaming with anticipation in the darkness. The next morning, Goku and Gohan stood in a clearing far from the house. Dew still clung to the grass, and birds chirped in the surrounding forest as the sun climbed higher in the sky. Okay, Gohan said, stretching his arms. Let's establish some ground rules. First, you only take a small amount of energy, enough to feel the connection but not enough to weaken me significantly. Goku nodded seriously. Agreed. Second, we have a signal word. If I say, stop, you break the connection immediately, no questions asked. Makes sense. Third, we document everything. I want to understand exactly what happens from both perspectives. Gohan pulled out a small notebook and pen. Before we start, describe again what it felt like when you absorbed the alien's energy. Goku closed his eyes, remembering. It was like finding a thread connecting me to their power. Once I grabbed that thread, energy just flowed in naturally. I couldn't stop it until they broke away. Gohan jotted this down. And with Bulma's energy cell? Similar, but much weaker. The thread was harder to find, and the flow was slower. Maybe because it wasn't living energy? Interesting hypothesis, Gohan murmured, writing furiously. Okay, I'm going to power up slightly, not to Super Saiyan, just enough to create a clear energy signature for you to sense. Gohan took a stance and concentrated, a white aura flickering to life around him. "Ready when you are, Dad." Goku raised his hand tentatively. "Here goes nothing." He focused on Gohan's energy, searching for that elusive thread of connection. At first, nothing happened. He pushed harder, concentrating on the sensation he'd felt before. "Try to relax," Gohan suggested. "From what you've described, this seems more intuitive than forced." Taking a deep breath, Goku cleared his mind. He stopped trying to make something happen and instead just felt the energy radiating from his son. There, the faintest connection, like a whisper calling to him. He mentally reached for it. The thread snapped into place. Immediately, Gohan's energy began flowing toward Goku's outstretched hand. "I feel it!" Goku exclaimed. Gohan's eyes widened. "I feel it too. It's like a gentle pull, drawing my ki outward." The sensation was much more controlled than with the alien. Goku could feel himself regulating the flow, taking only a trickle of Gohan's vast power. Still, that trickle felt incredible as it merged with his own energy. "Your aura is changing color," Gohan observed, his scientific curiosity overriding any discomfort. "There are flecks of my energy signature mixing with yours." After several seconds, Goku voluntarily broke the connection. "That's enough. How do you feel?" Gohan flexed his hands. "Slightly drained, but nothing serious. Maybe like I did a few minutes of light sparring. And I feel boosted. Not dramatically, but definitely stronger than before." Gohan scribbled more notes. "The process seems significantly more controlled when done willingly. And you were able to regulate how much you took." Goku brightened. "So maybe Vegeta was wrong. This doesn't have to be some evil, corrupting power. It could be useful in the right situations." "Let's not jump to conclusions," Gohan cautioned. "We still don't understand the full implications. But yes, with proper control, there could be ethical applications." They continued experimenting throughout the morning. Each time, Goku gained more precision over the absorption process, how much energy to take, how quickly, and even how to filter different types of ki. One more test, Gohan suggested after they'd been at it for hours. "Try giving the energy back." "You think that's possible?" "In theory. If you can pull energy in, perhaps you can push it out too." Goku considered this, then nodded. He focused on the borrowed energy still circulating in his system, trying to separate it from his natural ki. Then, extending his palm toward Gohan, he attempted to reverse the flow. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, energy began streaming from his hand to Gohan. "It's working!" Gohan exclaimed as his aura brightened. "I can feel my own energy returning." The transfer was more difficult than absorption, requiring intense concentration, but Goku managed to return most of the borrowed power. "That was harder," he admitted, wiping sweat from his forehead. "But extremely significant," Gohan said excitedly. "It means this ability isn't just about taking, you can give as well." Goku smiled at his son's enthusiasm. "So I could borrow energy in a pinch, then return it when the fight's over?" "Potentially. Or even redistribute energy between allies during battle." The possibilities were expanding in Goku's mind. What had seemed like a concerning, potentially corrupting ability now showed promise as a tactical advantage, one with ethical boundaries they could establish. Their training was interrupted by a familiar energy signature approaching rapidly. "Vegeta's coming," Goku noted, looking up at the sky. "And he feels angry." "When doesn't he?" Gohan muttered. The Saiyan Prince landed hard in the clearing, his face set in a scowl. He took in the scene before him, Goku and Gohan standing close together, both looking slightly drained but excited. "So it's true," Vegeta growled. "You're actually practicing this abomination." Goku stepped forward. "It's not what you think, Vegeta. We're learning to control it, finding ethical ways to use it. There are no ethical ways to use energy absorption, fool. Did you learn nothing from our battle with Moro? With Cell? With every parasite that's ever threatened this planet? Gohan intervened. Actually, Vegeta, we've made some interesting discoveries. Dad can return energy he's borrowed, and the process is much more controlled when done with consent. Vegeta crossed his arms. Consent? You think that matters? The problem isn't just about taking energy without permission, it's about relying on power that isn't yours. But all energy comes from somewhere, Goku argued. The spirit bomb is a temporary technique for specific situations. Vegeta snapped. Not a permanent crutch. Tell me, Kakarot, if you can simply take power whenever you need it, what incentive do you have to train? To push your limits? To grow as a warrior? The question struck home. Goku faltered, unable to find an immediate answer. That's what I thought, Vegeta continued, his voice lowering. You've always preached about the value of hard work, about earning your strength. Has that changed now that you found a shortcut? Gohan stepped between them. That's not fair. Dad didn't ask for this ability. But he's certainly embracing it, Vegeta sneered. I expected better from you, Kakarot. I thought your Saiyan pride ran deeper. Goku's expression hardened. This isn't about pride, Vegeta. It's about being prepared for whatever threats come next. What if this ability could make the difference in a future battle? Then you'll have sacrificed what makes you a true warrior to win that battle, Vegeta replied coldly. A Pyrrhic victory at best. Their argument was cut short by a massive explosion in the distance, toward West City. All three Saiyans turned toward the sound, sensing a familiar energy signature. It's back, Goku said grimly. The alien from yesterday. Vegeta snorted. Perfect timing. Now you can show me how you'll handle this without resorting to energy theft. This isn't the time for your pride, Vegeta, Gohan warned. People could be in danger. Then let's go, Goku said, placing his fingers to his forehead. Both of you grab on. I'll teleport us there. As they vanished from the clearing, none of them noticed the hooded figure emerging from the tree lean, a satisfied smile visible beneath the shadowed hood. Progress, the figure murmured, before disappearing in a flash of dark energy. West City was in chaos once again. The purple alien had returned, but this time it wasn't alone. Three similar creatures rampaged through the business district, each slightly different in appearance but clearly of the same species. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan materialized in the center of the destruction. Immediately, they had to dodge energy blasts from the nearest creature. They're stronger than yesterday, Goku observed, deflecting a beam that would have hit a fleeing civilian. Vegeta transformed into Super Saiyan without hesitation. Less talking, more fighting. He launched himself at the nearest alien, landing a powerful kick that sent it crashing through an office building. Gohan powered up as well, his white aura flaring as he engaged another creature. Goku faced the largest alien, presumably the leader and possibly the same one from yesterday. It regarded him with those eerie yellow eyes, almost with recognition. You're back for round 2, huh? Goku said, slipping into his fighting stance. Let's see what you've got. He transformed into Super Saiyan and charged, exchanging a flurry of blows that shook the ground beneath them. The alien matched him move for move, seeming to anticipate his attacks. Across the battlefield, Vegeta was holding his own against his opponent, but barely making progress. Each damaging blow he landed quickly regenerated. These things heal too fast, he shouted. We need to overwhelm them with power. Gohan was discovering the same problem. They're absorbing ambient energy to heal themselves. I can sense it. The realization hit Goku mid-punch. These creatures were energy absorbers too, but less direct than his new ability. They pulled in energy from their surroundings to fuel their regeneration. The leader alien caught Goku in a powerful hold, just as it had the day before. Immediately, Goku felt the pull as it tried to drain his energy. Not this time, he growled, focusing on his own newfound ability. Instead of resisting the drain, he established his own connection. For a moment, they were locked in a stalemate, each trying to pull energy from the other. Then Goku pushed harder, his Saiyan power giving him the edge. The alien's eyes widened in shock as the flow reversed. Now Goku was draining it, pulling in the chaotic purple energy that fueled its strength. The creature thrashed wildly, trying to break free, but Goku held firm. "This ends now," he shouted, absorbing more rapidly. Across the battlefield, Vegeta witnessed what was happening. Kakarot. "Don't do it." But Goku couldn't stop, or wouldn't. The rush was even more intense than before, power flooding his system as the alien withered in his grasp. His aura flared with streaks of purple, his muscles bulging with new energy. When he finally released the creature, it collapsed to the ground, shriveled and weak. The other aliens immediately broke off their attacks and retreated to their leader's side, forming a protective circle. Goku stood over them, energy crackling around his body. His expression was unlike anything his friends had seen before, fierce, almost predatory, with a disturbing gleam in his eyes. "Leave this planet," he commanded, his voice deeper than normal. "And don't come back." The weakened leader made a series of clicking sounds to its companions. They helped it to its feet, and in a flash of light, all four vanished through a portal similar to the one from yesterday. As the dust settled, Goku remained standing with his fists clenched, power still surging through him. The expression on his face was troubling, a mixture of satisfaction and hunger. Vegeta approached cautiously. "Kakarot. Power down." Goku turned to him, and for a moment, something alien flickered in his eyes. Then recognition returned, and he took a deep breath, forcing his power level to drop. The purple streaks in his aura faded, returning to his normal blue-white energy. "I stopped them," he said, his voice returning to normal. "No one got hurt." "That's not the point," Vegeta replied sharply. "You went too far. Look around you." Goku followed Vegeta's gaze. The surrounding area was unnaturally still, plants had withered, and a strange emptiness permeated the air, as if the very life had been drained from it. Did I do that?" Goku asked, horror creeping into his voice. Gohan landed beside them, looking equally concerned. "Dad, when you were absorbing that alien's energy, you weren't just taking its power. You were pulling in everything around you too." The realization hit Goku like a physical blow. He'd been so caught up in the rush, in the battle, that he hadn't noticed his ability affecting the environment. "I didn't mean to," he whispered. "I just wanted to stop them." "And that's exactly the problem," Vegeta said grimly. "Intent doesn't matter when a power like this takes control. You lost yourself in it, Kakarot." Goku looked down at his hands, still tingling with excess energy. The rush was fading now, replaced by a gnawing sense of unease. Had he really lost control so easily? "I need some time to think," he said finally. Before either Vegeta or Gohan could respond, Goku placed 2 fingers to his forehead and vanished. High above the world, Den's lookout floated serenely in the endless blue sky. Goku materialized on the pristine white tiles, startling Mr. Popo who was tending to the gardens. "Goku! We weren't expecting you," the attendant exclaimed. "Sorry for dropping in," Goku said distractedly. "Is Den around? I need some advice." "I'm here, Goku." The young Namekian guardian approached from the palace, his expression concerned. "I sensed the battle. And, the change in your energy." Goku wasn't surprised. As Earth's guardian, Den was attuned to significant energy fluctuations across the planet. "Then you know why I'm here," Goku said heavily. Den nodded. "Let's talk somewhere quiet." They walked to the edge of the lookout, gazing out at the clouds stretching to the horizon. For a while, neither spoke, content to let the peaceful atmosphere settle between them. Finally, Goku broke the silence. I'm afraid of what's happening to me, Den. This new ability, it felt too good. Too easy. Power often does, Den replied softly. Especially power that comes without the tempering influence of struggle. Vegeta thinks I should reject it completely. That it goes against everything I believe in as a martial artist. Den considered this. Vegeta has experienced the corrupting influence of easy power firsthand. His concern comes from a place of wisdom. But what if this ability could be used for good? Gohan and I were making progress with controlling it, using it ethically. The question isn't whether the power itself is good or evil, Den said, but how it affects the one who wields it. What did you feel when you absorbed that alien's energy today? Goku closed his eyes, remembering the sensation. It was intoxicating. Like nothing I've felt before. More intense than going Super Saiyan for the first time. And in that moment, were you thinking clearly? Making choices that aligned with your values? The question cut deep. Goku remembered the predatory satisfaction he'd felt, the way he'd inadvertently drained life from the surrounding area. No, he admitted. I lost myself in it. Den placed a hand on Goku's shoulder. That's what troubles me. Not the ability itself, but how quickly it overwhelms someone with your experience and mental discipline. So you think I should stop using it too? I think you need to understand it better before making that decision, Den replied carefully. This power has appeared for a reason. Perhaps there's a purpose you don't yet understand. Goku frowned. What do you mean? New abilities rarely manifest by chance, especially ones this significant. Have you considered why this particular power has appeared now? The question gave Goku pause. He'd been so focused on the how that he hadn't considered the why. Those aliens, they had similar abilities. Maybe I somehow copied them during the fight. Perhaps, Den said. Or perhaps something else is at work. Have you noticed anything unusual lately? Before the first alien appeared, Goku thought back over the past few weeks. Not really. Just my normal training routine. As he said it, though, a memory surfaced, a strange dream he'd had a few nights before the alien attack. In it, he'd been surrounded by swirling purple energy that spoke to him, offered him power beyond imagining. He dismissed it as just a dream, but now. Actually, he began, there was something, a massive energy spike cut him off mid-sentence. Both he and Den turned toward the source, West City again, but far stronger than the alien attackers. What now? Goku muttered. Den's expression was grave. This energy, it's like yours now. But older. More refined. A chill ran down Goku's spine. Someone else with absorption abilities? It would seem so. And much more experienced in using them. Goku's mind raced. Was this connected to the aliens? To his new power? Only one way to find out. I have to go, he said urgently. Thanks for the talk, Den. Goku, wait. Den called. Be careful. If this is someone who's mastered energy absorption, they could be incredibly dangerous to you specifically. Goku nodded grimly. I'll keep that in mind. He brought 2 fingers to his forehead and focused on the new energy signature. As he teleported away, one thought dominated his mind, was this the reason he developed this ability? To face someone who used the same power? West City Park had become a battleground for the 3rd time in 2 days. This time, however, the threat wasn't alien creatures but a single humanoid figure hovering above the crater-strewn ground. Goku materialized to find Vegeta and Gohan already engaged in combat, along with Piccolo and Krillin. All 4 were struggling against their mysterious opponent, a tall, slender being with pale blue skin and flowing silver hair. Despite fighting 4 powerful warriors simultaneously, the stranger seemed to be barely exerting himself. Ah, the guest of honor arrives, the being said, his voice melodic yet chilling. He effortlessly deflected a special beam cannon from Piccolo while holding Vegeta back with an energy shield. Goku took in the scene quickly. "Who are you? What do you want?" The stranger smiled, revealing teeth that seemed too sharp for his elegant face. "My name is Kazan. As for what I want..." His eyes fixed on Goku with disturbing intensity. "I've been looking for you, Saiyan." With a casual gesture, Kazan sent Goku's friends flying backward with a wave of energy. None of them appeared seriously hurt, but the display of power was concerning. "I don't know you," Goku said, transforming into Super Saiyan. "But if you're looking for a fight, you've got one." Kazan laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "I'm not here to fight you, Goku. I'm here to mentor you." The claim was so unexpected that Goku hesitated. "Mentor me? In your new abilities, of course." Kazan descended until he stood on the ground before Goku. Up close, his appearance was even more unsettling. His skin had a translucent quality, with veins of purple energy visible beneath the surface. Energy absorption is a rare gift. One that requires proper guidance. Vegeta struggled to his feet, blood trickling from his forehead. "Don't listen to him, Kakarot. He's the one who sent those aliens." A necessary introduction, Kazan admitted without a hint of remorse. "I needed to awaken your dormant ability." Goku's eyes narrowed. "You're saying I already had this power? That you didn't give it to me?" "Give? No." Kazan circled Goku slowly, examining him like a scientist might study a specimen. "Your potential for absorption has always been there, buried in your genetic code, waiting for the right catalyst. I merely activated what was already present." "Why?" Gohan demanded, moving to stand beside his father. "What do you want with him?" Kazan's smile faded slightly. "Because I am dying. And I need a successor." The admission hung in the air. Now that Goku looked more carefully, he could see signs of deterioration beneath Kazan's elegant appearance, patches where the skin seemed thin and papery, places where the purple energy pulsed erratically. "I don't understand," Goku said cautiously. "Allow me to explain." Kazan raised a hand, and a sphere of energy formed above his palm. Within it, images began to appear, planets, galaxies, civilizations Goku had never seen. "I am the last of an ancient race known as the Azuri. For millennia, we were the regulators of cosmic energy, maintaining balance across the universe. Our ability to absorb, purify, and redistribute energy was our sacred duty." The sphere showed beings similar to Kazan performing what looked like rituals on various worlds. "But power corrupts," Kazan continued, his voice tinged with bitterness. "My people began to take more than they gave back. Planets withered. Stars dimmed. Life faded. In their greed, they destroyed themselves, and nearly the galaxy with them." The images shifted to scenes of devastation, of Azuri withering away as their bodies overloaded with stolen energy. "I alone saw the danger in time. I developed techniques to stabilize the absorption process, to take only what was needed and no more. For thousands of years, I have wandered the cosmos, undoing my people's damage where I could." Piccolo crossed his arms skeptically. "And we're supposed to believe this story?" "Believe what you wish," Kazan replied dismissively. "The fact remains that I am the only one who truly understands what Goku is becoming." Goku studied the stranger carefully. Despite the sinister introduction, there was a ring of truth to his words. The energy flowing through Kazan's body was similar to what Goku had experienced, but refined, controlled in ways he couldn't yet comprehend. "Those aliens," Goku said slowly. "They were like you." "Pale imitations," Kazan sneered. "Laboratory creations meant to trigger your dormant abilities. Crude, but effective. You endangered innocent people." Gohan accused. Kazan shrugged. "A necessary risk. The awakening process requires extreme emotional and physical stress. Besides, no one was permanently harmed. Why me? Goku asked, the most important question of all. Out of everyone in the universe, why choose me for this succession? For the first time, Kazan's confident demeanor faltered. Because you are unique, Scion. Your cellular structure, your ability to adapt and evolve through combat, your pure heart, you are the only being I've found in centuries who might be able to handle this power without being corrupted by it. Vegeta scoffed. Pure heart. You should have seen him earlier today, drunk on stolen power. Kazan fixed Vegeta with a cold stare. Initial intoxication is expected. With proper training, he will master control. And what exactly would this proper training involve? Piccolo asked suspiciously. Techniques developed over millennia. Ways to absorb that don't harm the source. Methods to purify corrupted energy. Kazan turned back to Goku. I offer knowledge that would take you lifetimes to discover on your own. The offer was tempting. Despite his misgivings, Goku couldn't deny that mastering this ability properly was better than stumbling through trial and error. And in return, he asked cautiously. What do you want from me? Kazan's expression turned solemn. When my time comes, which will be soon, you must continue my work. Become the new regulator, maintaining balance in a universe constantly threatened by energy disruptions. You want me to leave Earth? My family? Goku's voice hardened. Not happening. Not immediately, Kazan clarified. But eventually, yes. This duty transcends individual worlds or personal attachments. Vegeta stepped forward. He's manipulating you, Kakarot. Can't you see? This is exactly how tyrants recruit disciples, with grand promises and noble-sounding missions. Kazan's eyes flashed dangerously. You know nothing of my mission, Scion Prince. Your race was among the worst energy disruptors in the galaxy's history. Stop it, both of you. Goku intervened. I need time to think about this. It's too much to process at once. Of course, Kazan said, his composure returning. Consider my offer carefully. When you're ready to begin training, you'll find me. He rose into the air, purple energy swirling around him. But don't wait too long, Goku. That power inside you won't remain dormant forever. Without proper guidance, it will consume you, just as it consumed my people. With those ominous words, Kazan vanished in a flash of light, leaving Goku and his friends staring at the empty space where he had been. Well, Krillin finally said, breaking the tense silence. That was intense. Piccolo approached Goku. You're not actually considering his offer, are you? Goku's expression was troubled. I don't know. He seemed to genuinely understand this ability better than any of us. He also endangered an entire city just to trigger your powers, Gohan pointed out. That doesn't suggest someone with Earth's best interests at heart. But what if he's right? Goku looked down at his hands. What if this power really will consume me without proper training? Vegeta snorted. Then reject the power entirely. Return to what you know, training, fighting with your own strength. Is that even possible now? Goku wondered aloud. It feels integrated into me. Part of who I am. The group fell silent, each processing the implications of Kazan's appearance and claims. Finally, Piccolo spoke. We should consult with King Kai. If this Kazan is as ancient and significant as he claims, the Kais might have knowledge of him or his race. Goku nodded. Good idea. I'll teleport there immediately. And what will you do after that? Vegeta demanded. If the Kais confirm his story, will you abandon everything you've built as a warrior to become his apprentice? The question hung heavily in the air. Goku's expression turned uncharacteristically serious. I don't know, Vegeta. But I do know this, I won't let this power control me. One way or another, I'll master it on my own terms. As his friends watched, Goku placed 2 fingers to his forehead and vanished, leaving them with more questions than answers, and a growing concern about what their friend might be becoming. King Kai's small planet spun peacefully in the otherworld, its gravity many times that of Earth. The blue-skinned deity was napping under his favorite tree when Goku materialized beside him. Gah! King Kai jerked awake, falling over in surprise. Goku! How many times have I told you to give some warning before you teleport here? Sorry, King Kai, Goku said, helping the rotund god to his feet. But this is important. King Kai adjusted his sunglasses, grumbling. It's always important with you. What catastrophe is it this time? Another ancient evil awakened? Universe in peril again? Actually, it's about me. Goku explained everything that had happened over the past 2 days, the alien attack, his new absorption ability, and finally, Kazon's appearance and claims. As the story unfolded, King Kai's expression shifted from annoyance to concern, and finally to alarm. The Azuri, he whispered when Goku finished. I thought they were extinct. Goku's eyes widened. So they were real. Kazon wasn't lying about that part. King Kai paced nervously, his antennae twitching. Oh, they were very real, and very dangerous. The Supreme Kai of that era had to intervene directly to stop their rampage across the galaxy. What exactly were they? Goku pressed. Kazon said they were energy regulators. That's what they called themselves, King Kai scoffed. A convenient justification for what amounted to cosmic vampirism. They didn't regulate energy, they consumed it. Entire star systems were left barren in their wake. Goku frowned. But Kazon said he was different. That he found a way to absorb energy without causing harm. King Kai stopped pacing. Perhaps. It would explain how he survived when the rest of his race perished from energy overload. But Goku, you must understand, energy absorption on that scale fundamentally changes the absorber. No matter how pure your intentions, that kind of power comes with consequences. What kind of consequences? Dependency, for one, King Kai said gravely. The more you absorb, the more you need. Eventually, your own natural energy production begins to atrophy. Without external sources, you weaken, possibly even die. This information hit Goku hard. So if I continue using this ability, you might eventually become like Kazon, dependent on absorption to survive. Goku slumped onto the grass, the weight of this revelation pressing down on him. No wonder Vegeta was so against it. King Kai sat beside him. There's something else you should know, Goku. The Azuri weren't just energy absorbers, they were energy manipulators. They could corrupt ki, twist it to serve their purposes. Corrupt ki. Is that even possible? Unfortunately, yes. Pure energy can be tainted, just like pure water can be polluted. The Azuri specialized in this, turning life energy into something destructive, addictive. A troubling thought occurred to Goku. King Kai, when I absorbed energy from those aliens, it felt different. Intoxicating. Was that, possibly corrupted energy? Yes, King Kai confirmed. Which would explain why it affected you so strongly. Goku stared at his hands, wondering if that corruption still lingered within him. So what do I do now? Kazon says I need training to control this ability, but if everything you've told me is true, he can't be trusted. King Kai adjusted his sunglasses thoughtfully. The ability itself isn't inherently evil, Goku. Like any power, it's how you use it that matters. If you could develop your own techniques, ethical ones, maybe you could avoid the Azuri's fate. That's what Gohan suggested too, Goku said, perking up slightly. Finding ways to only absorb energy that's freely given. A good start, King Kai nodded. But you'll need to be vigilant. The temptation to take the easy path, to absorb rather than earn your power, will always be there. Goku stood, a new determination in his eyes. I've never been one to take shortcuts in my training. I won't start now. That's the spirit. King Kai said, clapping him on the back. Now, about Kazan, be extremely careful. If he truly is the last Azuri, his desperation to preserve his legacy makes him dangerous. He may claim noble intentions, but the Azuri were masters of manipulation. You think he chose me for a reason other than what he said? King Kai's expression turned grim. The Scion capacity for power growth is legendary throughout the universe. An energy absorber with your adaptive abilities could become, well, let's just say it would make Frieza look like a minor nuisance. The implications weren't lost on Goku. So I'm potentially the worst person to have this ability. Or the best, King Kai countered. Few beings have your moral compass and self-discipline, Goku. If anyone could handle this power responsibly, it's you, but only if you're aware of the risks. Goku nodded, processing everything he'd learned. Thanks, King Kai. I need to get back to Earth and talk with the others. One more thing before you go, King Kai said, his tone serious. Watch for signs of corruption, increased aggression, obsession with power, diminished empathy. If you notice these changes in yourself, seek help immediately. I will, Goku promised. And I'll make sure my friends know to watch for them too. As he prepared to teleport back to Earth, Goku felt both clearer and more burdened. Knowledge was power, but this knowledge carried heavy responsibility. Whatever happened next, he was determined to master this ability on his own terms, not Kazan's. The last Azuri would have to find another successor. Night had fallen over Mount Paozu when Goku returned home. The lights were on in the small dome house, and through the window, he could see his family gathered around the dinner table. Chi-Chi was serving food while Goten chatted animatedly about something, making Gohan laugh. Goku paused outside, suddenly reluctant to interrupt this peaceful scene with his troubles. But as he stood there watching, Gohan glanced up and spotted him through the window. Their eyes met, and Gohan gave a small nod of understanding before saying something to Chi-Chi. A moment later, the door opened, and Chi-Chi stepped out onto the porch. How long were you planning to stand out there? She asked, hands on her hips but concern in her eyes. Sorry, Chi-Chi, I just needed a minute. She studied his face, then sighed. Gohan told me everything. About your new ability, and that strange alien. Goku winced. Are you angry? To his surprise, Chi-Chi shook her head. Worried, yes. Angry, no. This isn't your fault, Goku. Her understanding broke something inside him. After the tension of the day, the battles, Vegeta's accusations, Kazan's offer, King Kai's warnings, Chi-Chi's simple acceptance was overwhelming. I don't know what to do, he admitted, his voice unusually vulnerable. This power, it's changing me, Chi-Chi, and I'm not sure I like what I'm becoming. She stepped forward and placed a hand on his cheek. Then change how you're using it. You've faced challenges before, Goku. Overwhelming power, difficult choices. You've always found your way through. This feels different. King Kai says it could make me dependent, corrupt my energy. Only if you let it, she said firmly. You've never been one to take the easy path when it comes to strength. Why start now? Her words echoed what he'd told King Kai. Maybe she was right, maybe the key was approaching this new ability the same way he'd approached every other power-up in his life, with hard work, discipline, and respect for its consequences. Come inside, Chi-Chi said, taking his hand. You need food, family, and rest. Tomorrow will be time enough to figure out the rest. As they entered the warm kitchen, Goten rushed over, jumping into his father's arms. Dad! Did you beat up that weird blue guy? Gohan said he was super strong. Goku couldn't help but smile at his son's enthusiasm. Not yet, Squirt. But I'm working on it. Over dinner, Goku shared what he'd learned from King Kai, while carefully keeping the conversation appropriate for Goten's ears. Gohan listened intently, asking thoughtful questions about the Azuri and their abilities. So they could manipulate energy, not just absorb it? Gohan asked, his scientific curiosity engaged. According to King Kai, yes. They could corrupt pure energy, changing its properties. Gohan's eyes widened. That's fascinating from a theoretical perspective. Energy transformation at the quantum level. Gohan, Chi-Chi warned, nodding toward Goten who was clearly trying to follow the conversation. Right, sorry, Gohan adjusted his glasses. The point is, if they could change energy properties, maybe there are positive applications too. Purification rather than corruption. Goku hadn't considered that angle. You mean I could potentially help cleanse corrupted energy? It's possible. Every ability has its positive uses. Gohan paused, choosing his words carefully. Maybe that's the ethical application we've been looking for, not just absorption with permission, but actually healing damaged energy. The idea was compelling. Instead of seeing his new power as something to fear or resist, what if it was a tool that could be used for good? Not just in battle, but in restoration. I'd need to learn how energy becomes corrupted in the first place, Goku mused. And how to recognize different types of ki. We can work on that, Gohan offered. Together. No need to accept Kazan's training if we can develop our own techniques. For the first time since discovering his new ability, Goku felt genuine hope. The path ahead was unclear, but with his family's support and his own determination, perhaps he could master this power without sacrificing who he was. After dinner, when Goten had been put to bed, Goku stepped outside onto the porch again. The night was clear, stars twinkling overhead in the vast darkness. He sensed Gohan joining him before he heard his footsteps. Beautiful night, his son said, echoing their conversation from the previous evening. Yeah. They stood in companionable silence for a while, each lost in thought. Finally, Gohan spoke. Whatever you decide, Dad, I'm with you. We all are. Goku smiled gratefully. Thanks, son. I've been thinking about what you said at dinner, about purification. What about it? If the Azuri could corrupt energy, maybe I can learn to do the opposite. To heal it. Goku looked up at the stars. That would be a power worth having. It would, Gohan agreed. And it fits with who you are. You've always been about protection, about making things better. A shooting star streaked across the sky, a brief flash of light in the darkness. As Goku watched it disappear, he made his decision. I won't seek out Kazan, he said firmly. But I won't reject this ability either. I'll master it my way, the right way. Gohan nodded, pride evident in his expression. I never doubted you would. Unknown to either of them, far above in the upper atmosphere, a figure hovered, watching the Sun household with calculating eyes. Noble intentions, Kazan murmured. But ultimately futile. The hunger always wins in the end. He turned his gaze to the stars, to the vast universe beyond Earth's skies. Enjoy these peaceful moments while they last, Goku. Your true test is only beginning. With that ominous thought, he vanished into the night, leaving no trace of his presence save a faint purple glow that quickly faded from the sky. Chapter 2, Corruption. 3 weeks after discovering his energy absorption ability, Goku stood alone in the barren wasteland where Cell had once held his tournament. Jagged rock formations cast long shadows in the late afternoon sun as he focused on a small mountain 50 yards away. Okay, let's try again, he muttered, extending his hand. Finding the connection had become easier each day. What once required intense concentration now came naturally, an invisible thread linking him to potential energy sources. The mountain wasn't alive, contained no key, but Goku had discovered that everything, even rocks, held some form of latent energy. He pulled. The thread strengthened. Energy flowed. The mountain didn't crumble dramatically or explode. Instead, a subtle change rippled across its surface. Colors dulled. Tiny plants clinging to its crevices withered. The very substance of the stone seemed to compress slightly, becoming denser, darker. Goku felt the mineral energy flow into him, different from Ki, more stable but less flexible. His body tingled as it processed this foreign power, converting it into something he could use. Better, he said, releasing the connection. Still not perfect, but better. He'd been practicing daily, developing finer control over what had started as a crude, instinctive ability. Following Gohan's suggestion, he'd focused primarily on non-living energy sources, rocks, water, even ambient heat. It wasn't nearly as powerful as absorbing Ki from living beings, but it avoided the ethical dilemmas. And the temptation. Goku checked the time. Almost 5, he'd promised Chi-Chi he wouldn't be late for dinner. As he prepared to use instant transmission, a familiar energy signature approached rapidly from the east. Vegeta landed hard on the rocky ground, arms crossed, perpetual scowl firmly in place. He looked around at the slightly withered landscape with obvious disapproval. Still playing with your parasite powers, I see. It's training, Vegeta, Goku said evenly, used to the prince's barbs by now. Learning control. Vegeta kicked a desiccated plant with his boot. Doesn't look like control to me. Looks like destruction. I'm working on it, Goku replied, more defensively than he intended. What brings you out here, anyway? You've made it pretty clear what you think about all this. Bulma sent me, Vegeta said, looking like the admission pained him. The 25th World Martial Arts Tournament has been announced. Registration closes tomorrow. Goku's eyes lit up. A tournament? Awesome. It's been years since the last one. Yes, well, Bulma thought you'd want to know. Vegeta turned to leave, then paused. You are planning to fight with your own power, aren't you? Not this, borrowed strength. The question stung more than Goku wanted to admit. Of course. I wouldn't, save it, Vegeta cut him off. Just remember who you are, Kakarot. A Saiyan warrior, not an energy thief. He blasted off into the sky before Goku could respond, leaving him standing alone among the partially drained rocks. I know who I am, Goku muttered to the empty air. But as he placed 2 fingers to his forehead and teleported home, a small voice in the back of his mind wondered if that was still true. The tournament grounds buzzed with excitement. Colorful banners flapped in the breeze as vendors hawked food and souvenirs to the growing crowd. The qualifying rounds had just concluded, narrowing the field to 16 fighters for the main event. In the competitors' waiting area, Goku stretched alongside his friends. Krillin, Piccolo, and Vegeta had all qualified easily, as had Goku himself. The remaining slots were filled by various martial artists from across the world, including a few familiar faces from previous tournaments. Man, this brings back memories, Krillin said, looking around nostalgically. Remember your first tournament, Goku? You were just a kid. Yeah, Goku smiled. Simpler times. Piccolo stood slightly apart from the group, cape billowing dramatically even in the minimal breeze. The competition seems weaker than in previous years. Apart from us, I don't sense any significant power levels. Don't get cocky, Vegeta warned. Power isn't everything in a tournament setting. Rules and strategy matter. Goku nodded in agreement. The tournament rules were strict, no killing, no weapons, no flying outside the ring. Victory came by knockout, surrender, or ring out. Simple in concept, but challenging in execution when holding back enough power to avoid accidentally killing an opponent. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer's voice boomed over the loudspeaker. Please welcome our 16 finalists. The crowd roared as the competitors filed into the arena. Goku waved cheerfully at the spectators, spotting Chi-Chi, Gohan, Goten, and Bulma in the front row. Despite the friendly atmosphere, he felt a strange tension in his body, a lingering side effect of his recent training. Over the past weeks, he'd pushed his absorption abilities further each day, experimenting with different energy sources. Although he'd avoided living subjects, the constant influx of external energy had left him feeling different. More sensitive to the energy around him. More aware of the potential power just waiting to be taken. The tournament bracket appeared on the massive screen. Goku would face a mustachioed martial artist named Don Ki in the first round. The other matchups scattered his friends throughout the bracket, they wouldn't face each other until later rounds. Looks like a clear path to the semi-finals, Krillin observed. Assuming none of us gets careless. As they returned to the waiting area, Goku felt eyes on him. Scanning the crowd, he spotted a hooded figure standing apart from the other spectators. Though the face was hidden, Goku instantly recognized the energy signature. Kazan. The Azuri made no attempt to hide his presence, simply observing from a distance. Their eyes met across the arena, and Kazan offered the slightest of nods before melting back into the crowd. "You okay, Goku?" Krillin asked, noticing his distraction. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "Just spotted an uninvited guest," Goku replied quietly. "Kazan is watching." Piccolo immediately went alert. "Here. Now. Why?" "Probably to observe how I'm progressing with my new ability," Goku guessed. "Or to see if I've reconsidered his offer." "Which you haven't," Vegeta stated flatly. "No," Goku confirmed. "But his presence complicates things." Before they could discuss further, the announcer called the first match. Krillin was up against a towering wrestler who looked more like a mountain than a man. "Wish me luck," Krillin grinned, cracking his knuckles. "Try not to blink or you'll miss it." True to his word, Krillin's match lasted exactly 12 seconds. The wrestler charged, Krillin sidestepped, and with a precise strike to the back of the neck, his opponent crumpled unconscious. The matches proceeded quickly after that. Piccolo defeated a capoeira expert without breaking a sweat. Vegeta's opponent surrendered before the prince even moved, apparently recognizing him from televised footage of previous catastrophes. Then it was Goku's turn. Don Ki proved more formidable than expected, a genuinely skilled martial artist with decades of experience. Though nowhere near Goku's power level, his technique was impeccable, and he moved with surprising speed for a man his age. Goku kept his power suppressed to make the fight fair. He enjoyed the simple exchange of blows, the challenge of winning within the tournament's limitations. For a few minutes, he felt like his old self again, the martial artist who lived for the thrill of competition, not the power absorber he'd become. Then something unexpected happened. As Don Ki launched a particularly aggressive combination, Goku felt the now familiar thread of connection form between them, entirely on its own. His body had instinctively reached for his opponent's energy. Goku immediately tried to sever the connection, but in his momentary distraction, Don Ki landed a solid hit to his jaw. The crowd gasped. Goku stumbled back, more surprised than hurt. Don Ki pressed his advantage, unleashing a flurry of strikes that forced Goku to focus on defense. "That all you got, son?" the mustachioed fighter taunted. The legendary Son Goku, floored by one punch. Something inside Goku flared at the taunt, a competitive pride tinged with something darker. The connection between them strengthened, not by conscious decision but by instinct. Energy began flowing. Don Ki's attack slowed mid-combination. His face registered confusion, then alarm, as strength visibly drained from his limbs. What's happening?" he gasped, stumbling backward. Goku realized with horror what was occurring. He was absorbing Don Ki's energy involuntarily. He tried to cut the connection, but it felt different from his practice attempts, more primal, harder to control. "No!" Goku shouted, physically backing away. The distance helped break the flow, but damage had been done. Don Ki stood shakily at the edge of the ring, looking pale and disoriented. The crowd fell silent, sensing something was wrong. I surrender," Don Ki said weakly, raising a trembling hand before collapsing to his knees. Medical staff rushed to the fallen fighter as the announcer hesitantly declared Goku the winner. The crowd's applause was scattered, uncertain. As Goku left the ring, he could feel questioning eyes following him. In the competitor's area, his friends waited with concerned expressions. "You absorbed his energy," Piccolo stated bluntly. "In front of thousands of witnesses." "I didn't mean to," Goku said, genuinely distressed. "It just happened. Like a reflex." "A reflex?" Vegeta's voice dripped with disdain. "Is that what we're calling it now?" "Guys, ease up," Krillin intervened. "It was clearly an accident. Don Ki will be fine." But Goku wasn't so sure. The connection had felt different, stronger, more automatic. And worse, part of him had enjoyed it. The rush of incoming energy, even from someone as relatively weak as Don Ki, had been intoxicating. He glanced toward the crowd, searching for Kazan. The Azuri stood at the edge of the spectator area, a satisfied smile visible beneath his hood. He'd seen everything. "I need some air," Goku muttered, heading for the exit. Piccolo moved to follow, but Vegeta stopped him. "Let him go. He needs to figure this out himself." Behind the tournament building, Goku leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. What was happening to him? The involuntary absorption was new, and deeply troubling. If he couldn't control when the ability activated, how could he safely fight anyone? "Disturbing, isn't it?" a melodic voice said from the shadows. "When the hunger begins to assert itself." Kazan stepped forward, hood pulled back to reveal his pale blue features. In daylight, the deterioration King Kai had mentioned was more evident. Patches of his skin seemed almost translucent, the purple energy beneath pulsing erratically. "What did you do to me?" Goku demanded. Kazan chuckled. "I did nothing but awaken what was already there. The ability is evolving naturally, becoming more integrated with your instincts. There was nothing natural about what just happened. On the contrary." Kazan circled Goku slowly. "Your body is adapting, recognizing energy absorption as a survival mechanism. In moments of stress or competition, it will now automatically seek additional power." Goku clenched his fists. "I can control it." "Can you?" "The evidence suggests otherwise." Kazan stopped directly in front of him. "What happened today was merely the beginning. The hunger grows, Goku. Without proper training, without the techniques I've spent millennia perfecting, you will eventually lose yourself to it. I'm developing my own techniques. Playing with rocks and water." Kazan laughed dismissively. "Child's play. True mastery means absorbing living energy without harm, redistributing power without corruption. Like you did with those aliens you sent to attack innocent people." Goku shot back. Kazan's expression hardened. "A necessary catalyst. Time is not a luxury I possess." He extended his hand, palm up, where a small sphere of swirling energy formed. "Consider this a demonstration of what true control looks like." The sphere expanded, encompassing both of them. Instantly, Goku felt a connection forming, but unlike anything he'd experienced before. Rather than pulling energy, Kazan was sharing it, creating a perfect balance between them. Images flashed through Goku's mind, techniques, principles, the fundamental nature of energy manipulation that went far beyond simple absorption. He saw worlds healed, corrupted energy purified, balance restored across galaxies. When the sphere dissipated, Goku staggered, overwhelmed by what he'd witnessed. "That's just a fraction of what I could teach you," Kazan said quietly. "The choice remains yours, Goku. Learn to master this gift properly, or watch as it masters you." Before Goku could respond, a tournament official appeared around the corner. "There you are, Mr. Sun. Your next match begins in 5 minutes. When Goku looked back, Kazan had vanished. The remainder of the tournament passed in a blur. Goku advanced through his matches mechanically, careful to suppress his absorption reflex by maintaining physical distance from his opponents. It worked, but the strain of constant vigilance left him distracted. By semi-finals, only the expected fighters remained: Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Krillin. The brackets paired Goku against Krillin while Vegeta faced Piccolo. "Don't hold back on my account," Krillin told Goku as they waited to enter the ring. "Just, try not to accidentally drain my life force." He'd meant it as a joke, but Goku's wince showed it had struck a nerve. "Sorry, bad taste," Krillin apologized quickly. "No, you're right to be concerned," Goku admitted. "I'm still figuring this out." The announcer called their names, and they walked into the arena to thunderous applause. Despite being massively outmatched, Krillin had always been a crowd favorite for his technical skill and determination. They bowed to each other and assumed fighting stances. The gong sounded. Krillin moved first, launching a flurry of attacks that Goku easily dodged. They fell into a familiar rhythm, Krillin attacking creatively, Goku defending while carefully restraining his power. "You're being too cautious," Krillin said during a brief pause. "I can take a hit, "It's not that," Goku replied, dodging another combination. "I'm trying to keep enough distance to prevent accidents." Understanding dawned on Krillin's face. "The absorption thing. You're afraid it'll happen again?" Goku nodded, blocking a kick. "Then we need to test it," Krillin decided suddenly. "Under controlled conditions. With a friend who knows what's coming." Before Goku could protest, Krillin closed the distance and grabbed his arm. Direct, sustained contact. "Now we know if you can control it," he said, holding firm despite Goku's attempt to pull away. For several tense seconds, nothing happened. Then Goku felt it, the familiar thread forming between them. But this time, forewarned and focused, he managed to suppress the connection. "It's working," he said, relief evident in his voice. "I can hold it back." Krillin grinned. "See? Control is possible. You just needed the right." His words cut off as the thread suddenly strengthened, slipping past Goku's mental barriers. Energy began flowing, slowly at first, then more rapidly. "Goku?" Krillin's grip loosened as his strength began to fade. "Something's happening." Goku tried to break the connection, but it had become self-sustaining, feeding on his momentary lapse in concentration. Krillin's energy poured into him, warm, familiar, filled with decades of friendship and shared battles. "Stop!" Krillin gasped, his face paling. "Goku, you need to stop." The panic in his friend's voice finally broke through. With tremendous mental effort, Goku severed the connection and physically shoved Krillin away from him. Krillin stumbled backward, dangerously close to the edge of the ring. He wobbled, disoriented from the energy drain, then lost his balance and fell out of bounds. "Ring out," the announcer declared. "Son Goku advances to the finals." The crowd cheered, unaware of what had really happened. But Goku wasn't listening to them. He rushed to where Krillin was being helped to his feet by tournament staff. "Krillin. Are you okay?" "I'm so sorry, I tried to stop it." His friend looked up, unusually pale but managing a weak smile. "Not quite the experiment I was hoping for, huh?" "Don't worry, I'll be fine. Just need to catch my breath." But the look in Krillin's eyes told a different story, concern, and a hint of fear. Not of Goku, but for him. As medical staff led Krillin away, Goku stood motionless in the ring, the crowd's cheers fading to background noise. He hadn't just failed to control his ability, it had grown stronger, more assertive. The hunger, as Kazan called it, was increasing. The final match pitted Goku against Vegeta, exactly as the crowd had hoped. The anticipation in the stadium was palpable as the two Saiyans faced each other across the ring. "I won't be as forgiving as the bald one if you try to drain me," Vegeta warned quietly as they waited for the starting gong. "I know," Goku replied. "If you sense anything like that happening, knock me out of the ring immediately." Vegeta raised an eyebrow. "You're actually worried? You didn't feel what happened with Krillin?" "It was like the ability has its own will now," All the more reason to reject it entirely, Vegeta said, then fell silent as the gong rang. The match began cautiously, both fighters keeping their power levels restrained to avoid destroying the ring. They exchanged precise blows, testing defenses, neither gaining a clear advantage. Goku maintained careful distance, breaking contact immediately after each strike. It made for an unusual fighting style, more hit and run than his typical approach, but it seemed to be working. No connection formed. "You're fighting like a coward," Vegeta taunted after several minutes of this. "Is this what you've become? Afraid of your own power?" The words stung, especially because they contained a kernel of truth. Goku was fighting defensively, limiting himself out of fear. "I'm being careful," he countered, dodging a punch. "You're being weak," Vegeta shot back. "The Kakarot I know would face this challenge head-on, not dance around it." Anger flared in Goku, a sharper, more intense reaction than the taunt warranted. Something about his new energy made emotions run hotter, reactions more extreme. "Fine," he growled. "You want my best. Here it comes." He charged forward, abandoning his cautious approach. His fist connected solidly with Vegeta's jaw, sending the prince skidding backward. Goku pressed the advantage, launching a combination of strikes that forced Vegeta onto the defensive. The crowd roared their approval at the sudden change in intensity. But as Goku maintained sustained contact during a grapple, he felt the dreaded connection begin to form. This time, however, it was different. The thread seemed to hesitate, as if encountering resistance. Vegeta's energy wasn't flowing easily, it pushed back, resisting the pull. Goku broke away, surprised. "Your energy, it's fighting the absorption." Vegeta smirked. "Of course it is. I've been training too. Did you think I wouldn't prepare for this possibility? You've been developing a counter technique?" "Simple energy control," Vegeta corrected. "Concentrated, directed flow that resists external manipulation. Basic principle of Saiyan battle meditation." The revelation stunned Goku. While he'd been experimenting with absorption, Vegeta had been working on defense against it, not out of fear, but pragmatism. "Show me," Goku said, genuine interest replacing his earlier anger. Vegeta considered for a moment, then nodded curtly. "Attack again. Try to absorb." "I'll demonstrate." Goku launched forward, grabbing Vegeta's arm and intentionally forming the connection. Immediately, he felt the resistance, Vegeta's energy compressed, disciplined, flowing in tight, controlled patterns that made it difficult to capture. "It's like trying to grab water that's moving too fast," Goku observed, fascinated. "Exactly," Vegeta confirmed. Energy in constant, directed motion is harder to siphon than static reserves. They broke apart, the brief educational moment giving way to the reality of the tournament. The crowd, confused by the pause in action, began to murmur. "Let's give them a show," Vegeta suggested, powering up slightly. "Just remember, control yourself, or I will control you." The match resumed with renewed intensity. Goku found himself falling into a rhythm, using Vegeta's technique to manage his own energy while maintaining offensive pressure. For the first time in weeks, he felt balanced, able to fight without constant fear of his ability activating. The contest extended for nearly 30 minutes, the longest of the tournament. Both fighters showed impressive technical skill, careful to keep their true power hidden from the human spectators while still delivering an exciting match. In the end, victory came down to a simple tactical error. Vegeta, attempting a complex combination, left his flank exposed for a fraction of a second. Goku capitalized, landing a precise strike that sent the prince tumbling out of bounds. "Winner by ring out. Son Goku is our new world champion," the announcer declared as the crowd erupted in cheers. Goku offered his hand to Vegeta, who accepted it with grudging respect. "You fought well," Goku said sincerely. "And that energy control technique, you may have saved me from myself." Vegeta's expression remained stern, but he nodded acknowledgement. "Don't thank me yet," Kakarot. This is just the beginning of your struggle. The real test comes when you face an enemy who doesn't share my restraint. As if summoned by those words, a massive explosion rocked the stadium. Screams erupted as the eastern wall of the arena crumbled, debris raining down on fleeing spectators. Through the dust and smoke, a familiar figure emerged, Kazan, no longer bothering with disguise. But he wasn't alone. Flanking him were the 4 purple aliens Goku had faced before, now wearing some kind of metallic collars. Magnificent performance, Kazan called, his voice carrying across the suddenly silent arena. Though I expected nothing less from my chosen successor. What are you doing, Kazan? Goku demanded, stepping forward. These people are innocent. A necessary demonstration, the Azuri replied calmly. You still don't understand the true nature of your new power, Goku. Perhaps a more practical lesson is required. He raised his hand, and the collars on his alien servants glowed with purple energy. Their bodies convulsed, eyes flaring brighter as power visibly flowed into them. These creatures are energy conduits, Kazan explained. Artificial beings designed to channel, store, and release power as directed. Normally quite weak, but with my guidance. The aliens grew in size, their purple skin darkening to almost black as veins of energy pulsed beneath the surface. Their combined power level skyrocketed, quickly surpassing what Goku had faced during their previous encounter. Kakarot. Vegeta shouted. Get the civilians out. Goku nodded, instantly focusing on the most important task. As Vegeta, Piccolo, and Krillin moved to engage the empowered aliens, Goku used his instant transmission to evacuate groups of spectators, prioritizing the injured and children. Chi-Chi, Gohan, Goten, and Bulma had already begun helping with evacuation, directing people toward the exits. When Goku appeared beside them, Chi-Chi grabbed his arm. What's happening? Who is that blue man? Kazan, Goku explained quickly. The Azuri I told you about. He's making his move. Gohan's expression hardened. This is a power play. He's forcing your hand, trying to make you use absorption against overwhelming odds. I know, Goku agreed grimly. And it might work. Those enhanced aliens are stronger than they look. Across the arena, Vegeta was thrown through a concrete wall by one of the creatures. Piccolo's special beam cannon pierced another alien's shoulder, but the wound closed almost instantly, the creature regenerating even faster than before. You need to help them, Chi-Chi said, pushing Goku toward the battle. We'll handle the evacuation. Goku hesitated. If I fight at full power here, people could get hurt in the crossfire. Then take the battle elsewhere, Gohan suggested. Lead them away from the city. It was the obvious solution, but Goku suspected Kazan wouldn't be so easily diverted. Still, they had to try. Get everyone to safety, he instructed his family. I'll handle Kazan. With that, he teleported directly to the center of the battlefield, materializing between his struggling friends and the enhanced aliens. The creatures immediately focused on him, their yellow eyes gleaming with recognition. Enough, Kazan. Goku shouted. Whatever point you're trying to make, these people don't deserve to suffer for it. The Azuri floated down from his elevated position, landing gracefully among the rubble. On the contrary, Goku. Suffering clarifies priorities quite effectively. You've been resisting your true nature, limiting your potential out of misguided moral concerns. He gestured, and the 4 aliens immediately surrounded Goku, cutting him off from his friends. Your companions are skilled warriors, Kazan continued, but even they cannot defeat my enhanced servants without significant power. Power you could easily provide if you embraced your ability. Piccolo staggered to his feet, bleeding from several wounds. Don't listen to him, Goku. It's a trap. Of course it's a trap, Kazan said smoothly. The question is whether Goku values his principles more than your lives. The aliens attacked simultaneously. Even with his considerable skill, Goku found himself overwhelmed by their coordinated assault. Each creature was now approaching Super Saiyan level strength, and their regenerative abilities made lasting damage nearly impossible. Goku transformed to Super Saiyan 2, the golden aura flaring around him as he fought defensively, trying to create an opening for escape. But the aliens anticipated his movements, hurting him away from his friends while Kazan watched with calculating eyes. "You're holding back," the Azuri observed. "Still afraid of your own potential." "I don't need absorption to defeat your puppets," Goku retorted, landing a powerful blow that sent one creature flying. "Perhaps not," Kazan conceded. "But what about your friends?" He made a subtle gesture. Instantly, two of the aliens broke off their attack on Goku and launched toward the others. One grabbed Krillin by the throat, lifting him off the ground. The other engaged Vegeta, who was still recovering from being thrown through the wall. "Stop!" Goku shouted. "You can stop it," Kazan replied calmly. "One simple action. Absorb the energy I'm channeling into these creatures. Claim it for yourself. Save your friends." The alien holding Krillin squeezed tighter. Krillin's face turned purple as he struggled for breath. "Don't do it. Goku," he managed to gasp. Vegeta, despite his injuries, fought furiously against his opponent. "Use your own power, Kakarot. Not this parasite's tricks." But Goku could see they were losing. Even Piccolo, with all his regenerative ability, was barely staying conscious after the beating he'd taken. And Krillin, human, vulnerable Krillin, had seconds at most before permanent damage. Time seemed to slow as Goku faced his moral crossroads. Use the absorption ability he'd been trying to control, potentially surrendering to its corrupting influence, or watch his friends suffer, possibly die, for his principles. "Tick-tock, Goku," Kazan said softly. "What will it be?" The decision crystallized in an instant. Friends before principles. Always. Goku extended both hands toward the nearest alien and opened himself fully to the absorption ability for the first time. No restraint, no careful control, just raw, desperate need. The connection formed explosively. Energy surged from the creature into Goku, not in the steady stream of his practice sessions but in a torrent that made his previous absorption seem like trickling faucets. The alien shrieked, its enhanced body shriveling as Goku drained it completely in seconds. But Goku didn't stop. He immediately established connections to the other three creatures, pulling from all of them simultaneously. The sensation was beyond intoxicating, it was transcendent. Pure power flooded his system, more than he could safely contain. His aura flared with streaks of purple mixing into the golden Super Saiyan glow, creating an otherworldly light that illuminated the destroyed arena. The aliens released his friends, turning their attention to this new threat, but it was too late. Their strength faded rapidly as Goku continued absorbing, his power level climbing to heights he'd never reached through conventional training. "Yes!" Kazan exclaimed, watching with fierce approval. "Take it all. Show me what you can become." The aliens collapsed, their enhanced bodies reduced to withered husks. But the energy Goku had absorbed was chaotic, corrupted by Kazan's manipulation. It burned through his system like acid, painful yet addictive. And still, he wanted more. His gaze fell on Kazan, the source of the power that had enhanced the aliens. Without conscious thought, Goku extended his reach, establishing a new connection to the Azuri himself. Kazan's eyes widened in surprise, then narrowed with calculation. "Interesting. Sooner than I expected, but not unwelcome." Unlike the aliens, Kazan didn't resist the absorption. If anything, he seemed to encourage it, his own energy flowing willingly into Goku. But this energy was different, ancient, complex, layered with millennia of accumulated power. As it merged with Goku's system, images flooded his mind, worlds drained to husks, civilizations collapsed, the Azuri's devastating journey across the cosmos. And beneath it all, a burning hunger that never ceased, never satisfied, always demanding more. Stop him! Piccolo shouted, recognizing the danger. He's corrupting Goku's energy. Vegeta launched himself at Kazan, aiming to break the connection physically. But before he could reach them, a shock wave of purple energy erupted from Goku's body, sending everyone flying backward. When the dust settled, Goku stood transformed, but not into any Super Saiyan form his friends recognized. His hair remained black but now rippled with currents of purple energy. His eyes glowed with the same eerie light. Around his body, an aura of mixed energies swirled, his natural blue-white ki intertwined with Kazan's corrupting purple influence. Goku? Krillin called hesitantly, rubbing his bruised throat. Goku turned toward his friends, and the expression on his face chilled them. It wasn't the warm, determined look they knew, it was cold, calculating, almost predatory. I understand now, Goku said, his voice overlaid with an echo that wasn't his own. This power, it's more than just taking energy. It's about transformation. Evolution. Kazan smiled triumphantly. Precisely. You're beginning to see. Piccolo took a cautious step forward. Goku, listen to me. That's not your energy talking. It's corrupted, influenced by what you absorbed. No, Goku replied, examining his hands as purple energy crackled between his fingers. For the first time, I'm seeing clearly. All those years wasted on incremental gains through training when this potential existed within me all along. Vegeta spat blood and struggled to his feet. That's not you talking, Kakarot. It's the parasite's influence. You're just afraid, Goku responded, his voice colder than they'd ever heard it. Afraid that I've surpassed you in a way you can never match. The proud prince, forever second best. The words struck Vegeta like physical blows. Not because of their content, but because they were so fundamentally unlike Goku, the rival who had always pushed him to be better, never belittled him. Excellent, Kazan murmured, observing the exchange with satisfaction. The transformation progresses faster than expected. Piccolo's eyes narrowed. What have you done to him? I've merely accelerated what was inevitable, Kazan explained casually. The corrupted energy acts as a catalyst, breaking down the mental barriers that kept his true nature suppressed. What you're seeing is Goku without the restrictive moral framework he's clung to. That framework is who he is, Krillin objected. It's not a restriction, it's his core. Kazan shrugged. A matter of perspective. From mine, it was limiting his potential. Throughout this exchange, Goku had been examining his transformed state with fascination. The power coursing through him was unlike anything he'd experienced, not just greater in magnitude but different in quality. He could sense energy on a level previously unimaginable, feel the life force of everything around him like tangible threads just waiting to be grasped. And behind it all, a hunger that whispered for more. We should go, he said suddenly, turning to Kazan. This place has nothing more to offer us. The casual dismissal of the destroyed arena, and the friends who had fought alongside him for decades, sent a chill through those watching. Goku, wait. Krillin called desperately. What about Chi-Chi? Gohan? Goten? Your family needs you. For a moment, something flickered in Goku's expression, a brief shadow of his former self. But it vanished quickly, submerged beneath the corrupting influence. They'll understand, he said dismissively. This is more important. Kazan placed a hand on Goku's shoulder. Indeed. The work awaiting us transcends individual attachments. There will be time for reunions later, once your transformation is complete. As they prepared to depart, a new voice cut through the tension. Dad! Gohan landed in the center of the ruined arena, having ensured the evacuation was complete. He took in the scene with growing horror, the defeated aliens, his injured friends, and worst of all, his father's transformed appearance. Don't go with him, Gohan pleaded. Whatever he's promised you, whatever power he's shown you, it's not worth losing yourself. Goku paused, something in his son's voice penetrating the haze of corruption. You don't understand, Gohan, he said, a hint of his normal tone breaking through. This power could change everything. I could protect everyone, end threats before they begin. At what cost? Gohan pressed, stepping closer. Look at yourself, Dad. Look at what you're becoming. Kazan's expression hardened. Enough sentimentality. We have work to do, Goku. The boy can join us later if he wishes. He's not just the boy, Goku said sharply, the first sign of resistance to Kazan's influence. He's my son. And you are becoming something greater than a mere father, Kazan countered smoothly. A cosmic force, a regulator of energy across galaxies. Such beings transcend ordinary attachments. The internal struggle played out visibly on Goku's face, flashes of his true self breaking through the corrupted exterior. Gohan, recognizing the opportunity, pressed his advantage. Dad, remember what you told me after Cell? That true strength comes from protecting what you love, not from power itself. The memory surfaced through the corruption, Goku, watching proudly as his son found the strength to defeat Cell, not through rage but through the desire to protect. I remember, Goku said, his voice strained. This isn't you, Gohan continued earnestly. The real Son Goku would never abandon his family and friends for power, no matter how great. Kazan's patience visibly thinned. We're wasting time. The transformation has begun and cannot be reversed. Better to embrace it than fight the inevitable. Nothing's inevitable, Vegeta interjected, limping forward to stand beside Gohan. Not for a true warrior. Kakarot has overcome greater challenges than your corrupting influence. Goku looked between them, his son and his rival, both appealing to the core of who he was. For a moment, the purple energy in his aura flickered, his natural blue-white ki reasserting itself. Then Kazan made his move. With lightning speed, he placed his palm against Goku's chest. Enough disruption, the Azuri hissed. You need more power to complete the transition. Before anyone could react, Kazan forced a massive surge of corrupted energy directly into Goku's system. Goku's back arched as the power invaded him, overwhelming his momentary resistance. When his eyes opened again, they glowed solid purple. We're leaving, Goku announced, his voice once again overlaid with that unnatural echo. Without another word, he placed his hand on Kazan's shoulder, and both vanished using instant transmission. The silence that followed was deafening. Gohan stared at the empty space where his father had stood, devastation written across his face. We've lost him, Krillin said quietly. No, Vegeta responded with unexpected conviction. Not yet. Kakarot is still in there, I saw it. This isn't over. Piccolo nodded in agreement. Kazan had to force that final surge of energy. That means Goku was fighting back. Then we need to find them, Gohan said, determination replacing despair. Before the corruption becomes permanent. As they gathered their strength and began planning their next move, none of them noticed the small figure that had witnessed everything from the shadows of the destroyed stadium. Goten stood motionless, tears streaming down his face as he processed what he'd just seen, his father, transformed and corrupted, choosing to leave with a stranger rather than stay with his family. Dad, he whispered, his young voice breaking. Come back. 3 days later, in a remote mountain range thousands of miles from civilization, Kazan observed his pupil with growing satisfaction. Goku knelt in the center of a complex pattern carved into the stone, purple energy flowing around and through him as he performed the absorption techniques Kazan had taught him. The mountain itself was visibly deteriorating, plants withering, rock faces crumbling, wildlife conspicuously absent from the surrounding area. All life energy was being systematically drained to fuel Goku's transformation. Excellent, Kazan praised as Goku completed another cycle. Your natural aptitude for energy manipulation is remarkable. You've accomplished in days what took me decades to master. Goku opened his eyes, now permanently tinged with purple. His appearance had continued to change, hair longer and wilder, skin slightly paler, features sharper. The corrupted energy had physically altered him, making him look more like the Azuri with each passing day. "It's still not enough," Goku said, his voice carrying that unsettling echo. "The hunger grows faster than I can feed it." As expected, Kazan replied, circling the pattern. "Eventually, you'll need to move beyond passive absorption from the environment to active harvesting from powerful sources." "Like what?" Kazan's smile was chilling. "Other fighters. Cities. Planets. The stronger the source, the more satisfying the yield." Some fragment of the old Goku stirred at these words. "Planets? With people on them?" "Of course," Kazan said dismissively. "Though we choose carefully, worlds that are energetically imbalanced, civilizations that waste or corrupt natural energy flows. Our work is ultimately restorative, even if individual lives are sacrificed for the greater balance." The rationalization should have horrified Goku. In his uncorrupted state, it would have. But now, the logic seemed sound, almost compelling. The greater good, the cosmic balance, transcended individual concerns. Yet something still felt wrong, a persistent doubt he couldn't quite suppress. "What about Earth?" he asked, the question emerging from that lingering fragment of his true self. Kazan hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "Earth has significant energy imbalances. Eventually, it would benefit from regulation." "My family lives there," Goku said, a flash of his normal tone breaking through. "Attachments fade with time," Kazan replied smoothly. "As your perspective expands to the cosmic scale, such concerns will seem increasingly insignificant." Before Goku could respond, a wave of pain shot through him. He doubled over, gasping as the corrupted energy in his system flared chaotically. "The transformation accelerates," Kazan observed dispassionately. "Your body struggles to integrate the new power." "It hurts," Goku managed through clenched teeth. "Pain is inevitable during evolution," Kazan said, unmoved. "Your cellular structure is being rewritten to better channel absorptive energy." The agony intensified, forcing Goku to the ground. Through the haze of pain, fragmented memories surfaced, training with Krillin and Master Roshi, fighting alongside Vegeta, teaching Gohan and Goten, quiet moments with Chi-Chi, his life before absorption, before Kazan. "Something's wrong," he gasped. "This doesn't feel right." Kazan's expression hardened. "Resistance is natural but futile. The process has progressed too far to reverse. Accept the transformation, and the pain will subside." But the memories continued, becoming more vivid. The World Martial Arts Tournament where he'd first met Chi-Chi, carrying Gohan on his shoulders as a child. Fusion with Vegeta against overwhelming odds. Each memory a testament to who he really was, not a cosmic energy regulator, but Son Goku, Earth's defender, family man, friend. "No," he said, struggling to his feet despite the pain. "This isn't me. This isn't what I want." Kazan's demeanor shifted from mentorship to menace. "What you want is irrelevant. The transformation proceeds with or without your consent. Better to embrace it than fight uselessly against the inevitable." "Nothing's inevitable," Goku replied, echoing Vegeta's words from the tournament. "I've spent my life defying the impossible." He focused inward, trying to separate his natural energy from the corrupting influence. It was like sorting individual drops in a mixed ocean, nearly impossible, but Goku had never backed down from impossible odds. Kazan observed with growing concern. "Stop this foolishness. You're only causing yourself unnecessary suffering." "Better, my suffering, than others," Goku managed through the pain. The Azuri's patience evaporated. "Enough. I selected you as my successor, but you are not irreplaceable. If you cannot embrace your destiny willingly, I will simply take back what I've given." He lunged forward, palms glowing with purple energy. But Goku, despite his weakened state, had anticipated the move. He sidestepped with the speed that had made him legendary, causing Kazan to stumble past him. "You can't take it back," Goku realized aloud. That's why you're so concerned. Once transferred, the energy can't be reclaimed by the original source. Kazan's expression confirmed the theory. Clever observation. But irrelevant. If you won't be my successor, you'll be my sustenance. The Azuri attacked again, this time establishing an absorption connection of his own. Goku felt the pull as Kazan attempted to drain him, not reclaiming the original energy, but taking everything. But instead of resisting, Goku did something unexpected. He welcomed the connection. Take it, he said, opening himself fully to Kazan's absorption. Take the corrupted energy back. Confusion flashed across Kazan's face, quickly replaced by hunger as he pulled energy from Goku. The purple power flowed between them, draining from Goku's system, but leaving his natural ki largely untouched. Yes, Kazan hissed, eyes glowing brighter as the energy returned to him. Give me your power. Not my power, Goku corrected, grimacing through the pain. Your corruption. I'm filtering it, separating what's mine from what you forced on me. Too late, Kazan realized the trap. Goku wasn't just allowing absorption, he was actively purging the corrupted energy, using Kazan's greed against him. As the Azuri pulled, Goku pushed, focusing entirely on channeling the foreign influence out of his system. Stop! Kazan commanded, trying to break the connection. But the flow had become self-sustaining, his own absorption ability turning against him. The purple energy drained from Goku's appearance, first from his eyes, then his hair, finally his aura. With each passing second, he looked more like himself again, while Kazan's form swelled with excess power. Too much, the Azuri gasped, his translucent skin stretching as energy overloaded his system. You don't understand, my body can't contain, I understand perfectly, Goku replied, his voice returning to normal. You've spent millennia carefully regulating how much you absorb. But greed clouded your judgment. You took too much, too quickly. Kazan's body began to crack, lines of purple light breaking through his skin like fissures in the earth. Help me. You must help me stabilize. I offered help at the tournament, Goku said quietly. You chose corruption instead. With a final, desperate cry, Kazan's control failed completely. The accumulated energy of centuries exploded outward, a blinding flash that momentarily transformed night to day across the mountain range. When the light faded, Goku stood alone. Where Kazan had been, only a small crystal remained, pulsing faintly with purple energy, the condensed essence of the Azuri, his physical form destroyed by his own excess. Goku approached cautiously and knelt beside the crystal. I'm sorry it ended this way. Despite everything, I think you truly believed in your mission. He gathered the crystal carefully. Though purged of the worst corruption, his system still contained traces of the absorption ability. He could feel it, quieter now, but present. A part of him, perhaps permanently. But now he understood it better. Not as a shortcut to power or a cosmic responsibility, but as a tool, neither inherently good nor evil, only as moral as the one who wielded it. Time to go home, he said to the empty mountains. Time to make things right. With 2 fingers to his forehead, he focused on the energy signatures he knew better than any others, his family waiting at Mount Paozu. As he prepared to teleport, he made a silent promise to himself, the hunger would never control him again. The Sun household was uncharacteristically quiet. Chi-Chi moved mechanically through her evening routine, preparing a dinner no one had much appetite for. Gohan sat at the table reviewing search data on his tablet, dark circles under his eyes evidence of sleepless nights. Goten stared out the window, as he had for hours each day since the tournament. They had searched tirelessly, Gohan, Piccolo, and Vegeta scouring the planet while Bulma used every technological resource at her disposal. But Goku and Kazan had vanished completely, leaving no energy signature to track. Any updates from Vegeta? Chi-Chi asked, placing a bowl of rice on the table with little enthusiasm. Gohan shook his head. Nothing yet. He's checking the old Frisia outposts in case they left Earth entirely. They didn't, Goten said quietly, still staring out the window. Honey, we don't know that for sure, Chi-Chi said gently. Dad wouldn't leave without saying goodbye, Goten insisted. Not forever. He'll come back. The simple faith in his words hung in the air, both heartwarming and heartbreaking. Then Goten suddenly stood, eyes wide. He's here. Before either Chi-Chi or Gohan could respond, the familiar sound of instant transmission preceded Goku's appearance in the center of the kitchen. For a moment, no one moved. They stared at Goku, searching for signs of the corruption they'd last seen, the purple eyes, the altered voice, the cold demeanor. But what stood before them was just Goku. Tired, somewhat battered, but himself. Hi, he said simply, uncertain of his welcome. Goten moved first, launching himself across the room and into his father's arms. Dad! You're back. I knew you would be. Goku caught him, hugging his youngest son tightly. I'm sorry, Goten. I'm so sorry. Chi-Chi approached more cautiously, hope warring with fear. Goku? Is it really you? All of you? He met her eyes, his own clear and normal. It's me, Chi-Chi, the real me. Gohan remained at the table, analytical even in his relief. The corruption? Kazan's influence? Gone, Goku confirmed. Mostly, anyway. The absorption ability is still there, but the corrupting energy has been purged. How? Gohan asked. Goku set Goten down and produced the small crystal, placing it on the table. Kazan tried to drain me when I started fighting his control. I used the opportunity to channel all the corrupted energy back into him. His system couldn't handle the overload. So he's... Chi-Chi left the question unfinished. Not dead, exactly, Goku explained, indicating the crystal. His physical form was destroyed, but his essence condensed into this. I couldn't just leave it there. Gohan examined the crystal without touching it. Fascinating. His entire consciousness could be contained in this structure. What matters is that you're back, Chi-Chi said, finally giving in to her emotions and embracing her husband. We were so worried. Goku held her tightly, breathing in her familiar scent. I almost lost myself, Chi-Chi, if not for what Gohan said at the tournament, reminding me of who I really am. You fought it, Gohan observed. Even with all that corrupted energy forced into your system, some part of you kept fighting. It wasn't easy, Goku admitted, sitting down heavily at the table. The corruption twisted everything, made power seem more important than people, cosmic balance more valuable than individual lives. But you broke free, Goten said proudly. Because you're the strongest. Goku smiled sadly at his son's simple faith. Not because I'm strong, Goten. Because I remembered what gives that strength meaning. Family. Friends. Protecting what matters. Chi-Chi placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. What happens now? With the ability? It was the question Goku had been asking himself during the long journey home. The absorption power remained, integrated into his energy system. Not corrupted as before, but present and accessible. I'm not sure, he answered honestly. It's part of me now, for better or worse. I can't reject it entirely. But you can control it, Gohan suggested. Use it ethically, as we discussed before. Goku nodded slowly. I think so. The experience with Kazan taught me more about energy manipulation than I realized. I understand the mechanics better now, how to absorb without harming, how to filter different types of energy. And the hunger? Gohan asked carefully. Kazan mentioned it was inevitable. It's still there, Goku admitted. Like a whisper in the background. But now that I know what it is, I can manage it. Channel it. Maybe even use it constructively. Chi-Chi squeezed his shoulder. You should eat something real. You look exhausted. As she busied herself serving dinner, the weight of the past days seemed to lighten slightly. Normalcy, or something approaching it, began to return to the Sun household. Halfway through the meal, Goku's head snapped up. Vegeta's coming. Fast. Seconds later, the Scion Prince landed outside and burst through the door without knocking. He took in the scene with a quick glance, Goku at the table, family around him, the crystal on the counter. "So you're back," he said flatly. "I'm back," Goku confirmed. Vegeta crossed his arms. "And the parasite's influence?" "Gone. But the ability remains." A long, tense moment passed as Vegeta studied him, searching for any sign of lingering corruption. Finally, he gave a curt nod. "You look terrible, Kakarot. Losing a battle with yourself doesn't suit you." Goku smiled faintly, recognizing the insult as Vegeta's unique form of relief. "I didn't lose. Just took a few rounds to win." Vegeta's gaze shifted to the crystal. "And that? Kazan. Or what's left of him?" "Humph. Should be destroyed." "Maybe," Goku agreed, surprising everyone. "But first, I want to understand. There might be knowledge in there worth preserving, even if his methods were wrong." Vegeta scoffed but didn't argue further. Instead, he pulled up a chair and sat at the table. "Well? Aren't you going to offer me food? I've spent 3 days searching this miserable planet for your corrupted hide." Chi-Chi, recognizing the Scion Prince's roundabout way of joining them, quickly set another place. The meal resumed, conversation gradually shifting from crisis to recovery. Later, when Goten had been put to bed and Chi-Chi had retired, Goku sat on the porch with Gohan and Vegeta. The crystal rested on a small table between them, its purple glow casting strange shadows in the darkness. "What will you do now?" Gohan asked, voicing the question they'd been avoiding. Goku gazed at the stars. "Train. Learn to master this ability properly, not Kazan's way, but my own way. Find the balance between using it and being used by it." "And if you can't?" Vegeta asked bluntly. "If the hunger grows too strong? Then I'll need you both to stop me," Goku replied with equal directness. "Whatever it takes." The gravity of the request hung in the air. Finally, Vegeta nodded. "I've been preparing for that possibility anyway." "I'm more optimistic," Gohan said. "What happened with Kazan proved that corruption isn't inevitable. You found your way back from the brink once. If necessary, you can do it again." Goku appreciated his son's faith but recognized the pragmatism in Vegeta's approach. The truth probably lay somewhere between them, hope tempered by vigilance. "One day at a time," he said finally. "That's all any of us can do." As the conversation drifted to lighter topics, Goku felt the hunger stir briefly, that whisper of want, of need for more energy. But instead of fighting it or giving in, he simply acknowledged it. Recognized it as part of himself now, a challenge to be managed rather than an enemy to be destroyed or an urge to be indulged. The path ahead wouldn't be easy. The absorption ability would always carry risks, always present temptation. But for the first time since this journey began, Goku felt confident that he could walk that path without losing himself. He was still Son Goku, changed, certainly, but still himself at the core. And that, more than any power, was worth fighting for. Chapter 3, Balance. 2 months passed since Goku's return. Spring blossomed across Mount Paozu, painting the mountain slopes in vibrant wildflowers and fresh green leaves. Life continued with a cautious normality, Chi-Chi tending her garden, Goten attending school, Gohan splitting time between his research and family. But Goku was gone. The crystal containing Kazan's essence sat in a specially designed containment field in Bulma's lab, constantly monitored for any change in activity. So far, it had remained dormant, the purple energy pulsing in a steady rhythm that neither increased nor diminished. Life moved forward. The world, unaware of how close it had come to losing its greatest defender to corruption, continued turning. Yet for those closest to Goku, an unspoken worry lingered like a shadow over otherwise sunny days. Where had he gone? And more importantly, why? High in the frigid mountains beyond civilization, where the air was too thin for ordinary humans to breathe comfortably, a solitary figure sat cross-legged atop a jagged peak. Snow and ice surrounded him, but neither cold nor altitude seemed to bother Son Goku as he maintained perfect stillness, eyes closed in deep meditation. His GI was tattered from weeks of exposure to the harsh environment. His hair and beard had grown wild, giving him the appearance of a mountain hermit. But his posture remained perfect, back straight, hands resting on his knees, breathing slow and controlled. Inside his mind, a battle raged. The hunger had returned, not with the overwhelming force of Kazon's corruption, but as a persistent craving that never fully subsided. Each day brought the same struggle, the desire to reach out, to connect, to absorb the energy that surrounded him. Goku had chosen this desolate location precisely because it offered so little energy to tempt him. No cities with millions of key signatures. No lush forests teeming with life force. Just rock, ice, and thin air, the barest minimum to sustain his existence while he grappled with his new reality. Self-imposed exile had seemed the safest option. Despite purging Kazon's corrupting influence, the fundamental ability, and the hunger that accompanied it, remained. Better to face this challenge alone than risk losing control near loved ones. A sudden gust of wind disturbed his meditation, carrying a familiar energy signature. Goku opened his eyes, unsurprised to see Vegeta landing on the narrow peak across from him. "Found you," the Saiyan Prince said without preamble. "Wasn't hiding," Goku replied, his voice rough from disuse. Vegeta surveyed the barren landscape with clear disdain. "This is your solution? Running away to sit on a mountain?" "I'm not running away. I'm protecting everyone while I figure this out." "By becoming a hermit?" Vegeta scoffed. "Your family misses you, you fool." Guilt flashed across Goku's face. "I miss them too. But until I can control this hunger completely, it's safer this way." Vegeta crossed his arms against the biting wind. "And how's that working? Have you conquered it yet?" "No," Goku admitted after a moment. "It's always there, like a whisper in the back of my mind. Sometimes louder, sometimes quieter, but never gone. And it never will be," Vegeta said bluntly. The statement hung in the frigid air between them. Not a question or speculation, but a statement of fact delivered with absolute certainty. "How would you know?" Goku asked, unable to keep the defensiveness from his voice. "Because I've been where you are," Vegeta replied, surprising him. Not with absorption specifically, but with power that came too easily, with a hunger that wasn't entirely my own. He sat down across from Goku, seemingly unbothered by the ice beneath him. Majin Vegeta wasn't just Babbidi's magic. It was my own darkness, amplified and unleashed. The hunger for power, for dominance, had always been there, Babbidi just removed my restraint. Goku listened silently. Vegeta rarely spoke of that time, of the choices he'd made under Babbidi's influence. "After it was over, after I sacrificed myself against Majin Buu, I thought that darkness had died with me," Vegeta continued. "But when I was revived, it was still there. Different, changed by my experiences, but present." "What did you do?" "I stopped fighting it." Vegeta's gaze was direct, challenging. "Not by giving in, but by accepting it as part of who I am. The hunger for power isn't something to defeat," Kakarot. "It's something to acknowledge, to understand, to direct." The insight struck Goku with unexpected force. He'd been approaching the hunger as an enemy to be conquered, a foreign invader to be expelled. But what if that was the wrong approach entirely? "You're saying I should make peace with it?" "I'm saying fighting your own nature is a battle you'll never win," Vegeta clarified. "Better to channel that energy toward productive ends than waste it on internal conflict." Goku considered this perspective, so different from his own approach. But what if the hunger gets stronger? What if I lose control again? Then you'd better have a plan beyond hiding on a mountain, Vegeta replied sharply. Real control isn't tested in isolation, it's proven under pressure. The truth in Vegeta's words was uncomfortable but undeniable. 2 months of meditation had brought Goku no closer to victory over the hunger, only temporary suppression in an environment specifically designed to minimize temptation. I'm afraid, Goku admitted, the words difficult for a warrior who had faced universe-threatening enemies without flinching. Not of the power itself, but of what it might make me become. Vegeta's expression softened fractionally, not quite sympathy, but understanding. That fear is healthy. It's when you stop being afraid of power that you should worry. A contemplative silence fell between them, broken only by the howling mountain wind. Finally, Goku spoke again. How do you do it? Live with your darkness without letting it control you? Vegeta considered the question carefully. I remind myself daily of what matters more than power. Bulma. Trunks. Bulla. The home I've built on this planet. A hint of his familiar smirk appeared. Even you and your ridiculous family, to some extent. Goku couldn't help but smile at the grudging admission. So anchors. Connections to what's real. Precisely. Isolation removes those anchors, leaving you adrift with nothing but your hunger for company. Vegeta stood, brushing snow from his training suit. Which is why this self-imposed exile is counterproductive nonsense. But what if, enough what ifs, Vegeta cut him off. You won't find answers here, Kakarot. Only avoidance. He extended a hand, a rare gesture from the proud prince. Come back. Face this challenge properly. With your family. With your friends. His expression turned challenging. With me, pushing you to get it right. Goku looked at the offered hand, then at the desolate landscape that had been his home for 2 months. What had this isolation truly accomplished, beyond temporary escape? The hunger remained. The questions remained. And meanwhile, life continued without him. He reached up and clasped Vegeta's hand, allowing himself to be pulled to his feet. You're right, he admitted. I can't hide forever. Obviously, Vegeta replied, reverting to his usual arrogance. Now, please tell me you can still use that ridiculous teleportation technique. I have no desire to carry you down this mountain. Goku laughed, a genuine sound that echoed across the peaks, the first real laugh he'd experienced in months. Instant transmission still works fine. Good. Bulma has been working on something you should see anyway. Something about that crystal. At the mention of Kazan's remains, Goku's expression sobered. Has something changed? Not yet, Vegeta said cryptically. But she believes it's only a matter of time. Without further explanation, he placed a hand on Goku's shoulder. Take us to Capsule Corporation. And prepare yourself, your wife has been planning what to say to you for 2 months. It won't be pleasant. With a resigned nod, Goku placed 2 fingers to his forehead and focused on Bulma's familiar energy signature. The mountain peak vanished around them, the hermit's exile ended as quickly as it had begun. Bulma's main laboratory hummed with activity. Screens displayed complex data streams, machines whirred as they processed information, and in the center of it all stood Earth's premier scientific genius, blue hair tied back as she studied the containment unit holding Kazan's crystal. She jumped when Goku and Vegeta materialized directly behind her. Would it kill you to use the door? She snapped, hand pressed to her chest. One of these days you'll give me a heart attack. Her irritation transformed to surprise as she registered Goku's wild, unkempt appearance. Goku. You're back. And you look terrible. Thanks, he replied with a sheepish grin, running a hand through his overgrown hair. Mountain living isn't great for personal grooming. Bulma's expression softened. It's good to see you, regardless. We've been worried. So I've heard, Goku said, glancing at Vegeta. I'm sorry for disappearing like that. You should save the apologies for Chi-Chi, Bulma advised. She's been, well, let's just say even Vegeta has been avoiding her lately. Humph. I avoid no one, Vegeta protested weakly. Bulma rolled her eyes. Right. That's why you happen to be training every time she visited. Goku approached the containment unit, studying the crystal inside. It pulsed with the same purple energy he remembered, though perhaps with a more defined rhythm than before. Vegeta said you've been studying this. Bulma turned serious, switching to scientist mode. Yes, and I'm glad you're here. There have been some concerning developments. She pressed a series of commands on her console, bringing up detailed scans on the main screen. When you first brought this in, the energy signature was chaotic, unstructured. But over the past 2 months, it's been organizing itself, becoming more coherent. The screen displayed a time-lapse of the crystal's energy patterns, showing a clear progression from random pulses to synchronized waves. What does that mean? Goku asked, though he suspected he already knew. It means Kazan's consciousness is rebuilding itself, Bulma confirmed grimly. The crystal isn't just storing energy, it's functioning as a kind of recovery chamber, allowing his essence to heal and reorganize. Can it be stopped? Vegeta asked. Bulma shook her head. I've tried various containment methods, energy dampeners, even attempts to disperse the energy safely. Nothing works. The crystal adapts to each approach, creating protective barriers around the core consciousness. How long? Goku's question was direct. Until full recovery? Hard to say exactly. Based on current progression rates, maybe 3 months. Maybe less. She pointed to a particular reading on the screen. These patterns here suggest he's already partially aware of his surroundings. Goku approached the crystal, studying it more carefully. Now that he was paying attention, he could sense something beyond the physical structure, a faint but distinct consciousness, like someone speaking in their sleep. He's rebuilding his connection to the physical world, Goku observed. Preparing to reconstruct a body. That matches my analysis, Bulma agreed. The question is, what do we do about it? If Kazan returns at full strength. She didn't need to finish the thought. They all remembered what had happened at the tournament, how easily Kazan had overpowered them, how thoroughly he had corrupted Goku. A fully restored Kazan would pose an even greater threat. Destroy it, Vegeta said flatly. Crush the crystal while his consciousness is still fragmented. Goku stared at the pulsing purple light, conflicted. It feels wrong. Like execution. He tried to corrupt you completely, Vegeta reminded him harshly. Would have used you to continue his twisted balancing of the cosmos, draining worlds of life. Mercy is wasted on beings like that. Maybe, Goku conceded. But destroying the crystal might not even work. If his consciousness is already rebuilding, who's to say destroying its container would eliminate it? We might just release his essence to find another host. Bulma nodded reluctantly. Goku has a point. Energy this complex doesn't simply disappear. It transforms. Then what do you suggest? Vegeta demanded. Wait until he's strong enough to threaten the planet again. Goku continued studying the crystal, a new idea forming. No. But maybe there's another approach. He extended his hand toward the containment field, not quite touching it. What are you doing? Bulma asked, alarmed. Testing a theory, Goku replied. Can you lower the field for a moment? Just long enough for me to make contact with the crystal. That's a terrible idea, Vegeta objected immediately. Direct contact could accelerate his restoration, or worse, allow him to attempt another corruption. Or, Goku countered, it could give me insight into his consciousness. Help us understand what we're dealing with. Bulma hesitated, looking between them. It's risky, Goku. Very risky. I know. But I've had 2 months to contemplate this ability. I understand it better now, even if I haven't mastered it completely. And sometimes the only way forward is through direct engagement. After a moment's consideration, Bulma nodded reluctantly. I'll lower the field for 10 seconds. Not a moment longer. And Vegeta, I'll be ready to intervene if anything goes wrong, the Saiyan Prince confirmed, moving closer to Goku. Bulma entered the command sequence. Field disengaging in 3, 2, 1. The energy barrier around the crystal shimmered and disappeared. Goku immediately placed his palm against the smooth surface, establishing contact. The connection formed instantly, more vivid and direct than any he'd experienced before. But instead of energy flowing from the crystal to him, or vice versa, Goku found himself pulled into Kazan's consciousness. Images flooded his mind, planets with skies of emerald and oceans of silver, civilizations rising and falling across millennia, energy patterns weaving through galaxies like cosmic tapestries. And through it all, Kazan, watching, absorbing, balancing. But beneath the surface memories lay something darker, the truth Kazan had hidden even from himself. Not balance but addiction. Not regulation but consumption. Worlds drained not because they were imbalanced, but because the hunger demanded it. And deeper still, nearly buried under layers of self-deception, a desperate fear of death. The crystal wasn't just a consequence of energy overload, it was a failsafe, a planned resurrection vessel prepared over centuries. He knew, Goku gasped, the realization hitting him even as the connection maintained. He knew this would happen. The crystal, the regeneration, it was his contingency plan all along. The consciousness within the crystal stirred more actively now, becoming aware of the intrusion. Goku felt Kazan's essence focusing, reaching for him, attempting to establish its own connection. Enough! Vegeta shouted, seeing Goku's expression change. He reached for Goku's arm to pull him away. But before contact broke, Goku received one final impression, a location. A specific place on Earth where Kazan had established something before their confrontation. Something that was waiting, dormant but ready. Bulma reactivated the containment field, severing the connection. Goku stumbled backward, supported by Vegeta's grip on his shoulder. What happened? Bulma demanded. What did you see? Goku's expression was grave as the implications sank in. Kazan wasn't just training me as his successor. He was preparing me as his next vessel if something went wrong. What? The crystal isn't a random consequence of his energy overload, Goku explained. It's a resurrection method he developed centuries ago. And he had a backup plan in case I broke free of his influence. What kind of backup plan? Vegeta asked warily. Some kind of device or structure, Goku replied, struggling to interpret the fragmented impressions. Hidden somewhere on Earth. I saw its location in his memories, a cave system in the northern mountains. Bulma immediately turned to her computer, bringing up a topographical map. Can you identify it more specifically? Goku studied the map, then pointed to a remote area far from human settlements. There. That's where I sensed it. What exactly is it? Vegeta pressed. An energy collector, Goku said, the knowledge becoming clearer as he processed what he'd experienced. Something designed to slowly gather power from the environment over time. I think he was creating an alternative energy reservoir in case his plans for me failed. And now that consciousness in the crystal is preparing to access it, Bulma concluded, the implications chilling. To use that stored energy to rebuild his physical form. We need to find it, Vegeta declared. Destroy it before he can make use of it. Goku nodded in agreement. But we should be careful. From what I glimpsed, the collector is sensitive to energy disturbances. A direct attack might trigger some kind of defensive mechanism. Then we investigate first, Bulma decided. I'll prepare scanning equipment. Vegeta, get in touch with Piccolo and the others, we might need backup. As they began preparations, Goku stood silent for a moment, processing everything he'd learned. The connection with Kazan's consciousness had been brief but revelatory, not just about the Azuri's plans, but about the nature of energy absorption itself. He'd sensed Kazan's hunger, recognized it as a reflection of his own. But he'd also glimpsed something the ancient being had lost sight of ages ago, the difference between taking and sharing, between consuming and connecting. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way to use this ability that didn't lead inevitably to corruption. "I need to make a stop before we head north," he said suddenly. Bulma looked up from her preparations. "Where?" "Home," Goku replied simply. "I owe my family an explanation. And an apology." The Sun household appeared exactly as Goku remembered, the small dome structure nestled against the mountainside with smoke rising gently from the chimney. As he approached the front door, he felt both nervous anticipation and profound relief. Whatever reception awaited him, at least he was finally facing it rather than hiding on a distant peak. He had barely raised his hand to knock when the door flew open. Chi-Chi stood in the doorway, wooden spoon still in hand from whatever she'd been cooking, eyes wide with disbelief. "Goku?" she whispered, as if saying his name too loudly might make him disappear again. "I'm home, Chi-Chi," he said simply. For a long moment, she just stared at him, taking in his wild appearance, the tattered GI, the beard he'd never worn before. Then, with a sound somewhere between a sob and a growl, she swung the wooden spoon at his head. Goku didn't dodge. The spoon connected with a solid thwack that echoed across the yard. 2 months. Chi-Chi shouted, emotions finally breaking through shock. 2 months without a word. Do you have any idea what that was like? For me. For Goten. "I'm sorry," Goku said, accepting the rebuke. "I thought I was protecting you." "From what?" "You." Chi-Chi demanded, tears now flowing freely. "You defeated Kazan. You broke free of the corruption. What were you protecting us from?" "From what I might become," Goku answered honestly. "The hunger didn't go away, Chi-Chi, even now, it's there, quieter, but present. I was afraid of losing control near the people I love most." Chi-Chi's anger visibly deflated, replaced by a complex mixture of hurt, understanding, and lingering frustration. "So you just left? Without explanation? Without goodbye?" "It was wrong," Goku admitted, stepping forward to gently wipe away her tears. "Vegeta helped me see that. Hiding from the problem only made it worse." At the mention of Vegeta, Chi-Chi's eyebrows raised in surprise. "Vegeta? He's the one who found you?" "Turns out he understands more about fighting inner darkness than I realized," Goku said with a small smile. "He pretty much told me I was being an idiot." Despite herself, Chi-Chi laughed. "Well, he was right about that." She looked up at him, really looked, seeing beyond the wild appearance to the man beneath. The same Goku she'd always known, but with new shadows in his eyes, new burdens carried in the set of his shoulders. "You're not staying long, are you?" she asked, perception honed by decades of marriage to a man constantly drawn to the next battle. Goku shook his head. "There's a situation with Kazan. His consciousness is rebuilding inside the crystal, and he left some kind of energy collector hidden in the mountains. We're heading there to investigate." "Of course there is," Chi-Chi sighed, resignation in her voice. "There's always a situation. But this time, I'm not facing it alone," Goku promised. "And when it's done, I'm coming home. For good." "You've said that before," she reminded him gently. "I know. And I meant it every time, even when circumstances forced me away." He took her hands in his. "But this time, I understand something I didn't before, running away from challenges doesn't solve them. Whether it's a threat to Earth or the hunger inside me, hiding only delays the inevitable." Chi-Chi studied his face, searching for the sincerity she needed to see. Whatever she found must have satisfied her, because she finally stepped back and gestured toward the kitchen. "You look half-starved. Sit down and eat something while I call Gohan to let him know you're back. Goku's face lit up at the mention of food, his stomach growling loudly as if on cue. I've been living on fish and wild plants for 2 months. Your cooking sounds like heaven right now. As he followed her inside, the door to Goten's room burst open. The young half-scion stood frozen for a moment, staring at his father with wide eyes. Dad, he whispered, almost identical to Chi-Chi's reaction. Hey, Squirt, Goku said softly. Before he could finish, Goten launched himself across the room, colliding with Goku with enough force to make him step back. Small arms wrapped tightly around his waist as Goten buried his face against his father's stomach. You came back, the boy mumbled, voice muffled. I told Mom you would. Goku knelt down, bringing himself to eye level with his son. I'm sorry I left without saying goodbye. That wasn't fair to you. Goten pulled back slightly, studying his father's face with the direct, unfiltered honesty of childhood. Were you scared? Of the purple power? Yes, Goku admitted, seeing no point in hiding the truth. I was afraid of what it might make me do. But you're stronger than it, Goten said with absolute certainty. You're the strongest ever. Goku smiled sadly at his son's unwavering faith. Not always, buddy. But I'm learning to be stronger in different ways. Ways that don't just involve punching harder. Goten considered this with surprising seriousness. Like using your brain instead of your fists. That's what Mom always says you should do. Exactly like that, Goku laughed, ruffling Goten's hair. Your mom's pretty smart. Smart enough to know when her husband and son are stalling instead of washing up for dinner, Chi-Chi called from the kitchen. Goten, show your father where we keep the razors. He looks like he's been raised by wolves. The domestic moment felt surreal after months of isolated meditation. But as Goten eagerly led him toward the bathroom, chattering about school and training and everything Goku had missed, he felt something settle inside him, a piece of himself sliding back into place, an anchor re-established. Vegeta had been right. The connections to what mattered weren't weaknesses to be protected through isolation, they were strengths to be embraced, reminders of what made the struggle worthwhile. And as he listened to his son's excited voice echoing off the bathroom walls, Goku silently renewed his promise, he would find a way to master this ability without sacrificing who he was. Not just for himself, but for the people who believed in him even when he didn't. Clean-shaven and properly dressed in a fresh GI, Goku felt more like himself than he had in months as he explained the situation over dinner. Chi-Chi and Goten listened intently, the former with growing concern, the latter with excitement at the prospect of another adventure. So the crystal is like a cocoon? Goten asked, fascinated despite the danger. And Kazan is like a butterfly inside it? More like a moth, Chi-Chi muttered darkly. Something like that, Goku agreed, finishing his 5th bowl of rice. His consciousness is rebuilding itself, preparing to connect with this energy collector he set up. And you're going to destroy it, Goten stated with certainty. Goku hesitated. That's the plan. But from what I saw in Kazan's memories, it might not be that simple. The collector has been gathering energy for months. Disrupting it incorrectly could release all that power at once. Like a bomb, Chi-Chi said, her face paling. Potentially, Goku admitted. That's why we need to investigate carefully first. Understand what we're dealing with before taking action. A knock at the door interrupted their conversation. Gohan stood on the porch, slightly out of breath as if he'd flown at top speed from the city. Dad, he exclaimed, embracing Goku tightly. Mom called and said you were back. Just temporarily, Goku explained, returning the hug. We've got a situation with Kazan. Gohan nodded. Bulma already called me. The crystal and the energy collector. I've been reviewing everything we know about Azuri technology and energy manipulation. Find anything useful? Goku asked hopefully. Maybe. Gohan adjusted his glasses. The Azuri were masters of energy conversion, not just absorption. They could take one form of energy and transform it into another, which explains how Kazan's consciousness could maintain itself in crystalline form. And how he might rebuild his body, Goku added. Exactly. Gohan sat down, accepting the tea Chi-Chi offered. But conversion requires a catalyst, something to facilitate the transformation process. For Kazan to convert the collector's stored energy into physical matter, he'd need a template, a pattern to follow. Goku frowned. Like DNA? Similar concept. An energy signature that contains the blueprint of his physical form. Gohan leaned forward. Dad, did you sense anything like that when you connected with the crystal? Any part of the energy that felt more structured, more defined than the rest? Goku closed his eyes, recalling the brief connection. There was something, at the core of the crystal. A concentration that felt different, denser, more organized. Gohan nodded excitedly. That could be it. The template he'll use to reconstruct himself. If we could disrupt that specifically, we might prevent his return without causing a catastrophic energy release. But we'd need to reach it first, Goku pointed out. And the crystal's containment field blocks direct access. Not for someone who can absorb energy, Gohan countered. You might be able to establish a connection precise enough to target just that template. The suggestion hung in the air, its implications clear. Using the absorption ability, the very power that had nearly corrupted him, to prevent Kazan's return. It's too dangerous, Chi-Chi objected immediately. After everything that's happened, you want Goku to connect with that thing again? I understand your concern, Gohan said gently. But Dad's been fighting this ability for months, treating it as an enemy. Maybe it's time to start seeing it as a tool, one that, used precisely and ethically, could solve this problem. Goku considered the idea carefully. His instinct was to agree with Chi-Chi, direct connection with Kazan's essence carried significant risks. But avoiding those risks meant continuing to fear his own power rather than mastering it. Let's deal with the energy collector first, he decided. See what we're facing there before making any decisions about the crystal. Gohan nodded in agreement. Bulma said they'd be ready to head north in an hour. Piccolo, Krillin, and Tien are meeting us at Capsule Corporation. I'm coming too. Goten declared, jumping up from his chair. No, young man, you are not, Chi-Chi countered firmly. This is too dangerous. But Mom. Dad might need help. Your mom's right, Squirt, Goku said, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. We don't know what we'll find up there. Best if you stay here where it's safe. Goten's face fell in disappointment, but he didn't argue further. Fine. But you have to promise to tell me everything when you get back. Every detail, Goku agreed solemnly. Especially the boring parts. This earned a giggle from Goten, diffusing the tension slightly. As they prepared to leave, Chi-Chi pulled Goku aside for a private moment. I just got you back, she said softly. I can't lose you again. Goku embraced her. You won't. Whatever happens with Kazan, whatever challenges this ability brings, I'm done running away from them, or from you. She searched his eyes, then nodded, accepting the promise for what it was, not a guarantee of safety, which he could never honestly give, but a commitment to face whatever came next together rather than in isolation. Go save the world, she said, managing a smile. Again. But come home when you're done. The beard actually wasn't terrible, but I draw the line at mountain hermit lifestyle. Goku laughed and kissed her goodbye, the familiar routine of departure and promised return feeling both comforting and bittersweet. Some things never changed, the world would always need saving, and he would always answer the call. But other things had changed profoundly. As he placed a hand on Gohan's shoulder and raised 2 fingers to his forehead, Goku carried with him a new understanding, of his power, his responsibility, and most importantly, his need for connection rather than isolation. In an instant, they vanished from Mount Paozu, leaving Chi-Chi and Goten watching the empty space where they had stood. He'll come back, Goten said with certainty. He promised. Chi-Chi smiled down at her youngest son. Yes. This time, I think he really means it. The northern mountains stretched like jagged teeth against the darkening sky, their peaks disappearing into low-hanging clouds. Bulma's largest aircraft hovered above the coordinates Goku had identified, its searchlights cutting through the gathering dusk to illuminate the rugged terrain below. Inside the command center, the assembled Z-fighters studied the topographical displays and energy readings that Bulma's instruments had collected. There's definitely something down there, Bulma confirmed, pointing to an anomalous energy signature on the screen. Located about 300 meters inside the mountain, in what appears to be a natural cave system. Can you get a visual? Piccolo asked, arms crossed as he leaned over the console. Not from this distance, Bulma replied. Whatever it is, the rock density is interfering with detailed scanning. We'll need to go in for a closer look. Krillin peered at the energy readings with a concerned expression. That's a lot of power concentrated in one place. Makes me nervous. As it should, Tien agreed, his third eye narrowed in concentration. I can sense it even from here. Unnatural. Contained, but barely. Goku studied the cave entrance visible on the external cameras. Kazan chose this location carefully. Remote, difficult to access, naturally shielded from detection. Strategic, Vegeta noted with grudging respect. The perfect place to build a backup plan without interference. So what's our approach? Gohan asked, looking to the group. Direct entry could trigger defenses we're not prepared for. Goku considered the options. I could teleport inside, get a preliminary assessment before bringing anyone else in. Too risky, Piccolo objected immediately. If the collector reacts to energy signatures, your teleportation might trigger whatever safeguards Kazan put in place. Not to mention exposing you directly to whatever energy is stored there, Bulma added. Given your sensitivity to external power sources, that seems unwise. The unspoken concern hung in the air, that proximity to a massive energy reservoir might awaken the hunger Goku had been struggling to control. We go in as a team, Vegeta declared, ending the debate. Ground approach, minimal power usage. Bulma stays with the ship as our exit strategy. The direct, tactical approach was quintessentially Vegeta, but no one argued. It made the most sense given the uncertainties they faced. I've prepared specialized equipment, Bulma said, moving to a storage compartment. Energy dampeners that should mask our approach, and sensors that can analyze the collector's structure without directly interfering with it. She distributed small devices that attached to their wrists. These will maintain communication and track your positions. If anything goes wrong, I can extract you quickly. Define quickly, Krillin muttered nervously. Quick enough if you stay alert, Bulma retorted. Now, I've also prepared. A sudden spike in the energy readings interrupted her. All eyes turned to the main screen, where the signature from the cave had intensified dramatically. What's happening? Gohan asked, alarmed. Bulma's fingers flew across the controls. The collector just activated at a higher level. Energy concentration is increasing rapidly. Is it Kazan? Tien asked, moving closer to the screen. Has his consciousness reached it somehow? I don't think so, Bulma replied, studying the data. The crystal is still securely contained at Capsule Corporation. This looks more like a preset activation sequence. Goku's expression darkened with realization. He programmed it. Probably set it to fully activate if he didn't return within a certain time frame. Which means our window for careful investigation just closed, Piccolo concluded grimly. We need to move. Now. Agreed, Vegeta said, already heading for the exit ramp. No more planning. We go in, assess, and neutralize. As they prepared to disembark, Goku felt a familiar sensation stirring within him, the hunger, responding to the massive energy source below. Even at this distance, it called to him, a siren song of power just waiting to be claimed. Gohan noticed his father's distracted expression. "Dad? You okay?" "Yeah," Goku replied, forcing focus. I can feel it. The collector. It's like it's calling to me specifically." "That might be intentional," Gohan suggested. "If Kazan designed it as a backup for his consciousness, he may have attuned it to respond to absorption abilities." "All the more reason for caution," Piccolo warned. "Don't establish any direct energy connections unless absolutely necessary, Goku." Goku nodded his understanding. As they descended the ramp into the cold mountain air, he centered himself, drawing on the mental discipline developed during his months of isolated meditation. The hunger was present but manageable, a whisper rather than a shout. "Stay alert," Vegeta instructed as they began their approach to the cave entrance. "And stay together. Whatever's in there, we face it as a unit." The unusual emphasis on teamwork from the typically independent Saiyan Prince wasn't lost on anyone. Vegeta, more than most, understood the dangers of facing power alone, without the tempering influence of allies. The cave mouth loomed before them, a dark gash in the mountainside partially concealed by overhanging rock. No obvious signs marked it as anything other than a natural formation, but the energy emanating from within told a different story. "Sensors aren't detecting any immediate threats," Bulma's voice reported through their communicators. "But the interference is increasing as you get closer. Be careful." With Vegeta in the lead and Piccolo bringing up the rear, the group entered the cave. The darkness immediately enveloped them, broken only by the soft glow of Bulma's devices and small energy spheres Gohan created to light their way. The passage descended steeply, natural stone giving way to subtle signs of modification, too smooth walls in certain sections, strategic widening of narrow points, reinforcement of potentially unstable areas. Nothing obvious, but clear evidence of intelligent alteration. Kazan was thorough, Tien observed quietly. "These modifications are meant to be overlooked as natural formations." "He had time to be careful," Goku replied. "Probably started this project the moment he identified me as a potential successor." The thought was unsettling, that the Azuri had been watching him, planning contingencies, preparing this hidden installation, all while Goku remained oblivious to his existence. As they descended deeper, the ambient temperature rose noticeably. The air became charged, similar to the feeling before a lightning storm. The energy density was increasing with every step, becoming almost tangible. And with it, Goku's hunger intensified. He found himself unconsciously reaching toward the energy, establishing the faintest connection without even meaning to. Quickly, he severed it, but not before Gohan noticed. "Dad," he said quietly, falling back to walk beside his father. "Maybe you should wait here. Let us scout ahead first." "I'm fine," Goku insisted, though his tense expression suggested otherwise. "It's affecting you," Gohan pressed. "There's no shame in acknowledging that." Goku took a deep breath, centering himself again. "If I can't handle this, then what was the point of the past 2 months? I need to face this, Gohan. Prove to myself that I can control it, not be controlled by it." Before Gohan could respond, Vegeta's voice called from ahead, "We found it." The narrow passage opened suddenly into a vast natural cavern, expanded and reinforced through artificial means. The space was easily 100 meters across, with a domed ceiling that disappeared into darkness above. And at its center stood Kazan's creation, a crystalline structure similar to the one containing his consciousness, but vastly larger. Nearly 30 feet tall, it pulsed with the same purple energy, but on a scale that made the original crystal seem like a mere fragment. "Incredible," Bulma's voice whispered through the communicators as their cameras transmitted images back to the ship. "The energy readings are off the charts. That thing has been absorbing power from everything in this region for months." The collector wasn't simply storing energy, it was processing it, purifying it, preparing it for specific use. Channels of power flowed through its crystalline structure in complex patterns, converging at various nodes before flowing onward. "It's a body," Goku realized suddenly. "He's not just storing power, He's building the framework for his new physical form. Gohan approached as close as he dared, studying the patterns. Dad's right. Look at the structure, those aren't random energy flows. They're forming a skeletal system, circulatory pathways, nerve centers. Can we destroy it? Krillin asked, eyeing the massive crystal with apprehension. Not safely, Piccolo answered. The energy contained in that structure, if released all at once, it could devastate the entire mountain range, possibly beyond. Then we need to drain it, Vegeta concluded. Redirect the energy somewhere it can't do harm. All eyes turned to Goku, the unspoken solution obvious. His absorption ability, the very thing that had connected him to this crisis, might be the key to resolving it safely. The hunger surged at the mere thought, eager for the feast of power before them. Goku's fists clenched as he fought to maintain control. I don't know if I can handle that much energy, he admitted. The corruption might return if I take in too much at once. Not if you don't keep it, Gohan suggested, an idea forming. What if you absorb and redirect simultaneously? Channel the power somewhere else rather than integrating it into your system. Is that possible? Tien asked, looking between them. Theoretically, Gohan confirmed. Dad's already demonstrated the ability to return energy he's absorbed. This would just be an extension of that principle, creating a conduit rather than a reservoir. Goku considered the concept. During his isolation, he'd experimented with different aspects of the absorption process, not just taking energy, but filtering it, redirecting it, even purifying certain forms of corruption. What Gohan suggested was more complex, but built on principles he'd already begun to understand. I could try, he said cautiously. But where would I direct it? Any physical location would just relocate the problem. Space, Piccolo suggested immediately. Channel it upward, beyond Earth's atmosphere. In the vacuum of space, the energy would disperse harmlessly. It was a solid plan in theory. But the practical execution posed significant challenges, maintaining control of that much power while establishing what amounted to an energy pipeline through the atmosphere and into space. I'll need help, Goku decided. I can't maintain concentration on both absorbing and redirecting simultaneously. Not with this much power involved. Tell us what you need, Vegeta said simply. The immediacy of the offer, coming from his once rival, strengthened Goku's resolve. He wasn't facing this alone, neither the external threat of Kazon's collector nor the internal struggle with his hunger. Vegeta, I'll need you to help stabilize the energy flow using that technique you showed me, the controlled circulation that resists external manipulation. If you can apply it to the stream after I absorb it, it will be easier to direct. Vegeta nodded without hesitation. Piccolo, Tien, I'll need you to help establish the pathway. Focus your energy upward, creating a channel that I can follow with the redirected power. Understood, they confirmed in unison. Gohan, Krillin, I need you monitoring. If you see any signs of corruption, in the energy or in me, you intervene immediately. Whatever it takes. The implicit permission to stop him by force if necessary wasn't lost on either of them. They exchanged a glance, then nodded solemnly. Everyone clear on their roles? Goku asked, looking around the circle of friends. When all had confirmed, he turned to face the massive crystal. Then let's do this. The longer we wait, the more power it accumulates. They took positions around the collector, each focusing on their assigned task. Piccolo and Tien began establishing the energy pathway, their combined power creating a visible stream leading upward through the cavern ceiling and beyond. Vegeta stood ready to stabilize the flow once absorption began. Gohan and Krillin positioned themselves to monitor both the process and Goku himself. Goku approached the crystal, close enough to feel its energy washing over him like waves. The hunger responded immediately, urging him to consume, to integrate this vast power into himself. But that wasn't the plan. This time, he wouldn't be absorbing for himself, he would be redirecting, acting as a conduit rather than a destination. It required a fundamental shift in how he approached the ability. "Ready?" he called, raising his hands toward the crystal. "Ready," came the unified response. Goku established the connection carefully, gradually, like easing into deep water rather than diving headfirst. The initial contact sent a shock of pleasure through his system, the hunger responding to the promise of satisfaction. He acknowledged the sensation but didn't surrender to it, maintaining focus on his true purpose. Energy began flowing from the crystal into his extended hands, not the trickle of his previous absorptions but a torrent that threatened to overwhelm him. The purple power surged through his arms, across his chest, seeking to integrate with his ki. With tremendous effort, Goku redirected it, channeling the stream upward toward the pathway Piccolo and Tien had established. The process felt like diverting a river with his bare hands, possible, but requiring constant vigilance and adjustment. "Vegeta, now," he called, voice strained. The Saiyan Prince immediately applied his technique to the energy flowing through Goku, helping to regulate its movement. The chaotic power became more ordered, its flow more predictable and manageable. "It's working," Gohan confirmed, monitoring the readings on Bulma's device. "The collector's energy levels are decreasing. The power is moving through the established channel." But as the process continued, the strain on Goku intensified. Sweat poured down his face as he fought to maintain the balance between absorption and redirection. Each moment brought more power through his system, power that the hunger desperately wanted to claim. Purple streaks began appearing in his aura, similar to what had happened during his corruption. The temptation to keep some of this incredible energy for himself grew stronger with each passing second. "Dad," Gohan called warningly. "Your energy signature is changing. Signs of corruption appearing." "I know," Goku managed through gritted teeth. "Just a little longer." The collector was now visibly diminished, its glow fading as more energy transferred to the redirection pathway. But the process had taken longer than anticipated, and Goku's resistance was weakening. The hunger, sensing opportunity, pressed harder against his control. "Just a fraction," it seemed to whisper. "Keep just a small portion of this power. You've earned it. You need it." For a dangerous moment, Goku's concentration wavered. Some of the energy began integrating with his own rather than flowing through to the pathway. His aura flared brighter, the purple streaks expanding. "Goku!" Krillin shouted in alarm. "It's happening again." The warning penetrated Goku's consciousness, bringing clarity through the haze of temptation. With renewed determination, he reasserted control, forcing all incoming energy back into the redirection pathway. "Almost done," he gasped, feeling the collector's reserves approaching depletion. The massive crystal structure had shrunk to less than half its original size, its glow dimming steadily. The energy pathway extending through the ceiling blazed with purple light as the redirected power streamed into the upper atmosphere and beyond. With a final surge of effort, Goku pulled the remaining energy from the collector. The crystal cracked, then shattered completely, collapsing into dust as its purpose ended. The last of the purple energy flowed through Goku's outstretched hands, up the established pathway, and into space. The connection severed. Goku dropped to his knees, exhausted but triumphant. His aura returned to its normal blue-white color, the threatening purple completely gone. "You did it," Gohan said, kneeling beside him. "The collector is neutralized. Bulma confirms the energy has dispersed safely in the upper atmosphere." Goku took deep, steadying breaths, coming to terms with what had just happened. He'd faced the hunger directly, been tempted by an unprecedented volume of power, and ultimately maintained control. Not by fighting the ability, but by channeling it toward a constructive purpose. "How do you feel?" Vegeta asked, studying him carefully for any lingering signs of corruption. "Tired," Goku replied honestly. "But, clear. Balanced." And it was true. The hunger hadn't disappeared, he could still feel it within him, but its voice seemed less demanding now, more integrated with his natural energy patterns. Like an instrument finally tuned to the correct pitch after months of discordance. The collector is gone, Piccolo observed, approaching the pile of dust that remained. But that doesn't solve our primary problem. Kazan's consciousness is still rebuilding in the crystal at Capsule Corporation. And now he's lost his energy reservoir, Tien added. Which might only make him more desperate. Goku stood slowly, supported by Gohan's steady hand. I know what we need to do. The others looked to him expectantly. Gohan was right earlier, Goku explained. The answer isn't in destroying the crystal or trying to contain it indefinitely. It's in targeting specifically what makes Kazan dangerous, his corrupted understanding of energy absorption. You want to purify his consciousness? Gohan asked, grasping the concept immediately. Not exactly purify, Goku clarified. More like, balance it. Restore what was lost over the millennia of isolation and addiction to power. And how exactly do you propose to do that? Vegeta asked skeptically. By connecting with him again, Goku replied. But this time, instead of just observing or absorbing, I'll share. Share what? Krillin questioned, clearly confused. Understanding. Perspective. Goku gestured to the group around him. What all of you have helped me realize over these past months. That power without connection leads inevitably to corruption. That true strength comes from balance, not domination. The idea was radical, not destroying their enemy or imprisoning him, but attempting to transform his fundamental nature. To heal rather than harm. It's risky, Piccolo warned. Connecting with his consciousness nearly corrupted you once before. I know, Goku acknowledged. But I'm different now. I understand the ability better. And more importantly, I understand what was missing from Kazan's perspective after millennia of isolation, the balance that comes from connection to others. The group fell silent, considering the unprecedented approach. It was quintessentially Goku, offering redemption rather than destruction, seeking healing rather than victory. If anyone can do it, you can, Krillin said finally, breaking the silence. You've never given up on anyone, not even Vegeta when he was trying to destroy the planet. Hey! Vegeta protested, though without real heat. He's right, Gohan supported. Transformative connection has always been your true strength, Dad. Not just your fighting ability, but your capacity to change those around you for the better. The vote of confidence strengthened Goku's resolve. The path forward was clear, not rejection of his new ability, nor surrender to it, but transformation through it. Then let's head back, he decided. The sooner we address Kazan's consciousness, the better. As they made their way out of the cavern, leaving behind the dust of the neutralized collector, Goku felt a newfound confidence. The hunger remained part of him, perhaps permanently, but it no longer seemed like an enemy to be conquered or a curse to be endured. Rather, it had become a reminder, of the fine line between power and corruption, of the constant need for balance, and most importantly, of the strength found in connection rather than isolation. Lessons he would now attempt to share with the last of the Azuri. Bulma's main laboratory had been transformed for the delicate operation ahead. The crystal containing Kazan's consciousness now sat in the center of a modified containment field, one designed to allow controlled interaction while preventing unintended energy transfer. The Z-fighters gathered around, each with assigned roles in case something went wrong. Whis, responding to Bulma's urgent message, had arrived to observe and provide guidance based on his extensive knowledge of cosmic energies. Fascinating, the angelic attendant commented, studying the crystal with genuine interest. It's been millennia since I've encountered Azuri technology. They were quite the innovative species before their downfall. You knew them? Goku asked, surprised. Not personally, Whis clarified. But Lord Beerus and I observed their civilization during its peak. Remarkable energy manipulators, but fundamentally flawed in their approach. How so? Gohan inquired, always eager for knowledge. Whis tapped his staff thoughtfully. They approached energy as something to be controlled rather than harmonized with. They sought mastery over cosmic forces instead of balance within them. That explains a lot about Kazan, Goku noted. His whole philosophy was about regulation and control, energy as a resource to be managed rather than a connection to be respected. Precisely, Whis nodded approvingly. The Azuri saw themselves as separate from the energy they manipulated, superior to it. That perspective inevitably leads to corruption, as energy is not meant to be dominated but understood. The insight confirmed what Goku had been gradually realizing through his own experiences. The hunger that accompanied absorption wasn't inherently evil, it was the natural consequence of attempting to control energy rather than connect with it. So what's your plan exactly? Bulma asked, making final adjustments to the equipment. You still haven't explained how this sharing is supposed to work. Goku approached the containment field. Kazan's consciousness is rebuilding around a fundamental imbalance, the belief that absorption means taking, controlling, regulating. I need to show him an alternative perspective. By establishing a two-way connection, Gohan elaborated. Not just absorbing or being absorbed, but true exchange. Exactly, Goku confirmed. I've been practicing with Vegeta and Gohan. It's possible to create a balanced energy circuit, giving and receiving simultaneously in perfect equilibrium. Whis smiled enigmatically. Ah, you've rediscovered what the Azuri forgot generations ago. Before their civilization turned toward domination, their original practice was precisely this, harmonious exchange rather than unidirectional absorption. Will it work on a consciousness as corrupted as Kazan's? Piccolo questioned. His perspective has been warped by millennia of isolation and power addiction. That's the risk, Goku admitted. But also why it's necessary. He needs to experience what he's forgotten, what all the Azuri forgot as they became consumed by their hunger for power. The stakes were clear to everyone present. If successful, they might transform a dangerous enemy into something else entirely. If they failed, Kazan's consciousness could potentially corrupt Goku once more, this time with nobody close enough to intervene. I've modified the containment field as requested, Bulma said, completing her preparations. It will allow energy transfer while maintaining physical separation. But Goku, the moment readings show any sign of corruption flowing toward you rather than balance, you shut it down, he finished for her. I understand. Vegeta stepped forward. I'll be monitoring your energy signature directly. At the first sign of imbalance, I'm pulling you out, forcibly if necessary. The protective stance from his former rival brought a smile to Goku's face. I wouldn't have it any other way. With final preparations complete, everyone took their positions. Bulma at the controls, Vegeta and Gohan flanking Goku, the others forming a wider circle around the containment field. Whis observed from a slight distance, staff ready but expression serene. Beginning energy interface in 3, 2, 1. Bulma counted down, adjusting the field parameters. The barrier between Goku and the crystal thinned, allowing limited energy transfer. Goku extended his hands, palms facing the pulsing purple object, and established the initial connection. Immediately, he felt Kazan's consciousness respond, first with surprise, then with the hunger that had defined the Azuri for so long. The pull was intense, attempting to drain Goku's energy just as it had during their previous encounters. But instead of resisting or countering with his own absorption, Goku did something unexpected. He offered energy freely, pushing it gently toward the crystal while simultaneously accepting the pull. What are you doing? Kazan's voice echoed directly into Goku's mind, confusion evident. Showing you what you've forgotten, Goku replied mentally. True balance. Not taking or controlling, but sharing. The foreign consciousness recoiled slightly, the concept so alien after millennia of one-directional absorption that it seemed almost threatening. Deception, Kazan accused. A trap to weaken me. No trap, Goku assured him, maintaining the balanced flow. Just an alternative to the path that destroyed your people. Through the connection, Goku shared not just energy but experience, the joy of fighting alongside friends rather than alone, the the strength that came from protecting loved ones, the harmony found in nature when energy flowed freely rather than under constraint. He showed Kazan memories of the spirit bomb, energy freely given by countless beings toward a common purpose. He shared the experience of fusion with Vegeta, two individuals becoming something greater than either could be alone, perfect balance creating unprecedented power. This is not how energy works, Kazan's consciousness protested, though with less conviction. Power must be regulated, controlled, directed. That's where the Azuri went wrong, Goku countered gently. Energy isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to be in balance. The universe doesn't need regulators, it needs harmonizers. The exchange continued, energy flowing both ways in perfect equilibrium. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, the quality of Kazan's consciousness began to shift. The hunger that had defined him for millennia still existed, but alongside it grew something new, understanding, perhaps even acceptance. The corruption levels are decreasing, Bulma reported, monitoring the readings. The purple energy signature is stabilizing, becoming less chaotic. His consciousness is responding to the balanced exchange, Gohan observed. It's like he's remembering something long forgotten. Inside the connection, Kazan's resistance continued to weaken. Memories long buried surfaced, of the early Azuri civilization before corruption, of balanced energy practices that had sustained rather than drained, of connections between individuals rather than domination. We were not always as you knew us, Kazan's voice admitted, softer now. Once, we were harmonizers, as you say. Facilitators of cosmic balance through mutual exchange. What changed? Goku asked, maintaining the steady flow. Fear. Scarcity. The belief that power must be hoarded rather than circulated. Images flowed through the connection, of a cosmic event that had disrupted energy patterns across galaxies, of Azuri leaders responding with increasing control rather than adaptation. We became what we feared, disruptors rather than harmonizers. The crystal's glow had changed, the harsh purple softening to a more balanced violet that pulsed in rhythm with Goku's own energy. It's working, Whis commented, genuine surprise in his voice. The consciousness is rebalancing itself. The process accelerated, decades of isolation and corruption being gradually undone through balanced exchange. Kazan's essence became more coherent, more integrated, not divided between hunger and purpose, but unified in a new understanding. I see now, his voice acknowledged, clearer than before. What I became, what I nearly made you become, it was the antithesis of true harmony. It's not too late to choose a different path, Goku offered. To become what the Azuri were meant to be. The crystal pulsed more brightly, the energy within reorganizing around this new perspective. The containment field rippled as the transformation progressed, the very nature of Kazan's consciousness shifting from something that demanded control to something that sought balance. The process is approaching completion, Bulma announced. Energy patterns stabilizing at a harmonized frequency. Goku maintained the connection for several more minutes, ensuring the transformation was complete and stable. Then, gradually, he withdrew, allowing the balanced exchange to conclude naturally rather than abruptly severing it. As the connection faded, the crystal's appearance had changed dramatically. No longer pulsing with corrupt purple energy, it now glowed with a serene violet light, perfectly steady and controlled. Did it work? Krillin asked hesitantly. Is he different now? Before anyone could answer, the crystal illuminated more brightly. A gentle voice, recognizable as Kazan's but lacking the cold edge that had characterized it before, spoke directly to their minds. I am rebalanced, it acknowledged. Not what I was, nor fully what I should be, but on a path toward harmony rather than domination. What happens now? Piccolo questioned, still wary despite the apparent transformation. Now I must reflect, reintegrate, relearn, Kazan replied. Millennia of corruption cannot be undone in a single exchange, no matter how profound. I require time, and guidance. Whis stepped forward, tapping his staff lightly against the floor. Perhaps I can be of assistance there. Lord Beerus has expressed interest in studying Azuri energy techniques. Your presence at his domain would be educational for all parties. The offer surprised everyone, particularly Goku, who knew how selective Whis was about who received his attention. You would teach him? Goku asked, unable to hide his astonishment. Teach? Perhaps. Observe and guide, certainly, Whis clarified with his characteristic smile. The balanced perspective of a reformed Azuri could prove valuable in maintaining cosmic harmony. And Lord Beerus does so enjoy collecting unique entities. The crystal pulsed once, as if in consideration. I accept this offer. My purpose was always balance, even if my methods became corrupted. Perhaps under proper guidance, I might yet fulfill that purpose correctly. With a gentle motion of his staff, Whis created a specialized container around the crystal. Then it settled. I shall take you to Lord Beerus immediately. He's been quite irritable lately, a new curiosity should improve his mood considerably. He turned to the assembled group. Well done, all of you. Particularly you, Goku. Transformation through balanced exchange rather than domination or destruction, quite fitting for a student of balance. I'm not sure I'd call myself that, Goku replied modestly. I'm still figuring this all out. As are we all, Whis said enigmatically. The pursuit of balance is never complete, only ongoing. With that philosophical pronouncement, he prepared to depart, the contained crystal floating beside him. Before leaving, however, Kazan's voice spoke once more. Goku, it said, directed specifically to him. The hunger will never fully disappear. But it need not control you, nor you it. Perfect balance isn't the absence of opposing forces, but their harmonious integration. I'm beginning to understand that, Goku acknowledged. Thank you. No, Kazan responded. Thank you. For showing an old, corrupted being that redemption is possible through connection rather than isolation. With that final exchange, Whis tapped his staff, and both he and the crystal vanished, presumably heading to Beerus's distant planet. A moment of silence fell over the laboratory as everyone processed what had just occurred. It was Krillin who finally broke it, laughing in disbelief. Only you, Goku. Only you would solve a planet-threatening crisis by making friends with the bad guy. Not friends exactly, Goku corrected with a smile. Just, fellow travelers on the path to understanding balance. Speaking of balance, Bulma interjected, checking her instruments. Your energy signature has stabilized remarkably, Goku. The absorption ability is still present, but it's fully integrated with your natural ki flow now. Goku could feel the difference. The hunger that had plagued him for months was still there, but transformed, no longer a separate, demanding voice but simply another aspect of his energy system. Like his psion strength or his capacity for ki control, it had become just another tool in his arsenal, neither defining him nor threatening him. So what now? Gohan asked, the question directed at his father but relevant to everyone. Goku's answer was immediate and certain. Now I go home. For real this time. Spring had given way to early summer on Mount Paozu. The forest surrounding the Sun household buzzed with life, birds calling, insects humming, flowers blooming in vibrant profusion. Inside, Chi-Chi hummed as she prepared lunch, while Goten sat at the table working on homework with an expression of intense concentration. The domestic scene was interrupted by the sound of the front door opening. Both turned to see Goku entering, a basket of freshly caught fish in one hand and a bundle of firewood under his arm. That should handle dinner, he announced cheerfully, setting down his burdens. The river's teeming with fish this season. Did you use your regular fishing method or? Chi-Chi let the question hang, referring to his absorption ability without directly naming it. Goku smiled, understanding her concern. Regular method. Though I did practice a little energy sharing with some of the forest plants that looked like they needed a boost. In the months since resolving the Kazan situation, Goku had been exploring the constructive applications of his ability, not just absorption, but balanced exchange. He discovered that many natural processes could be enhanced through careful energy sharing, from revitalizing weakened plants to healing injured animals. Gohan called while you were out, Chi-Chi mentioned, returning to her cooking. He's coming for dinner with Videl and Pan. Says he has some new research to discuss with you. Great! Goku replied enthusiastically. The collaboration with his scholar son had proven unexpectedly rewarding. Gohan's scientific mind combined with Goku's intuitive understanding of ki creating insights neither could have developed alone. Dad! Goten called, looking up from his homework. Can we train after I finish this? I've been practicing that energy circulation technique you showed me. Sure thing, Squirt. Just don't tell your mother we're training before homework is complete. He winked conspiratorially. I heard that, Chi-Chi said without turning around, though her tone lacked the sharp edge it might once have carried. The recent crises had softened her perspective somewhat. Life was too unpredictable, too precious, to waste on unnecessary strictness. As Goku helped set the table, a familiar energy signature approached from the east. Moments later, Vegeta landed outside, entering without knocking as had become his custom. Kakarot, he greeted with typical brusqueness. Ready for our session? The sessions had become a weekly occurrence, not just sparring matches, but focused practice in energy control and balanced exchange. Vegeta's precision complemented Goku's power, each pushing the other to refine their techniques. After lunch, Chi-Chi answered before Goku could, pointing imperiously at an empty chair. You're staying to eat. I made extra. Vegeta's protest died unspoken at Chi-Chi's determined expression. With a grumbled fine, he took the offered seat, though not without a small smirk at how thoroughly Goku's wife had come to manage both scions. As they ate, conversation flowed naturally between topics: Goten's school projects, Vegeta's training regimen, news from Capsule Corp where Bulma continued studying the energy principles they discovered during the Kazan incident. Any word from Whis? Goku asked during a lull. Vegeta shrugged. Brief update. The Azuri is responding well to structured guidance. Apparently even Lord Beerus finds his insights on energy marginally interesting, which is high praise coming from him. The knowledge that Kazan was finding his own path toward balance brought Goku satisfaction. Redemption rather than destruction had proven the right choice, not just for the Azuri, but for Goku himself, who had found greater understanding of his own ability through the process of helping another. After lunch, as Vegeta and Goku prepared to depart for their training session, Chi-Chi pulled her husband aside for a private moment. You seem happy, she observed, studying his face. Truly happy, not just your usual cheerful self. Goku considered this. I am. For the first time since this ability emerged, I feel whole. Not fighting against part of myself, but integrated. Balance, Chi-Chi noted with a knowing smile. You finally found it. I had good teachers, Goku replied, embracing her. Including one who wouldn't let me hide on a mountain forever. Chi-Chi laughed softly. Go train with your rival. Just be back for dinner. Gohan's bringing that research on energy purification techniques he's been developing. With a quick kiss, Goku joined Vegeta outside. The Saiyan Prince was already warming up, moving through precise forms with characteristic intensity. Ready to show me what you've been practicing? Vegeta challenged. Goku smiled, slipping into his own stance. Always. As they began their session, Goku felt the familiar flow of energy, his own, Vegeta's, and the natural forces surrounding them. The absorption ability that had once seemed like a curse now felt like just another dimension of his connection to the world, not defining him, but expanding his understanding. The hunger remained, as Kazan had warned it would. But it no longer drove him, no longer threatened to overwhelm his true nature. Instead, it had become a reminder, of the fine line between power and corruption, of the necessity of balance, and most importantly, of the strength found in connection rather than isolation. As Goku and Vegeta exchanged techniques beneath the summer sky, energy flowing between them in patterns of attack, defense, and mutual enhancement. The true lesson of the past months crystallized: power wasn't something to be taken or rejected, controlled or feared. It was something to be harmonized with, balanced through connection to what truly mattered: family, friends, purpose. And that was a lesson worth all the struggles it had taken to learn. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.